This is the Date Night Dice Podcast, a podcast mostly about board games.
Probably not.
Hello and welcome to episode number 37 of the Date Night Dice Podcast. I'm Ben.
I'm Em.
And I'm Ken.
Tonight I am going to be leaning heavily on my co-hosts because if you can't tell already, I have a bit of a cold. So bear with me as I blow my nose away from the mic and try not to cry my tears of stuffiness onto this microphone here. If you watch the video version of this, you'll notice the bags under my eyes, but I will try to hold it together. Luckily, I have some whiskey here tonight, and it is help. It's not a hot toddy. I didn't go all the way.
So you should have went for it.
I didn't think I could do a hot toddy.
Well,
Wait, so you have whiskey, but you didn't want it to be a hot toddy? Yeah.
What's a hot toddy is like when you just pour hot water in whiskey.
Yeah,
right?
it's very
some lemon or something.
It's like from well, we're poor, so here's how to make medicine.
Yeah, that's like their medicine. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just this really bad alcohol with some hot water added to it.
Kill your
I should have done that.
Insides out, kind of,
I tell you what, though, I was incredibly congested before I started drinking this, and Ken was a little bit later than normal joining the recording, and I
called you out.
I am feeling so much better. It has cleared me up.
Really?
Unbelievably.
I would not have thought that.
Are you sure it's not like medicine
I could
you
be
took
just making
right
that
before?
up. The other thing, I can't taste it at all, though, unfortunately.
That's good.
You better be careful
okay.
then.
Yeah. Two things. Have you ever had? I bought cold medicine a couple of weeks ago, made by Vicks. Vicks Vapo Rub type thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
And they've essentially weaponized the Vapo Rub because it's in that shit. It's like you're drinking. Liquid. It's bad. Boy,
is it like a tea?
Does it work good though?
No, it's like the syrup. It's
Okay.
It's
the
like a
2-pack.
NyQuil.
But it's Vapo Rub you drink?
Well,
So
plus like acetaminophen and decongestants and antihistamines and all that sort of stuff.
Instead of it clearing you from the outside in, is it clearing you from the inside out? Are you vapo? It's like eating horseradish.
It's like you're rubbing your organs with Vicks.
Horseradish would have been better. I drank it at night and was so sick.
Oh no!
Nauseous.
Oh no!
From I got Vapo.
I feel like you need to go grab the bottle. Like you shouldn't have drank it. Like
and
you
it was
probably poisoned
off-brand.
yourself.
It was off-brand Vicks
boy.
Vapo WMD. And then second question, is there anybody aware of a stuffy nose congested ASMR? Because if there isn't, you should be on top of it right now.
Oh, here we go. I thought you were going to ask, is there some sort of secret decongestant recipe, which Emily does know.
What?
The secret recipe to decongest.
I don't know what the one bottle is, but I remember when I would always get like severe sinus infections. It's this one.
It's a mix. You do
3 ibuprofen.
Little cocktail.
And then one of this
chest decongestant
but
stuff?
I don't. It's called like it starts with a G. I would have to look up what the like medical term is. But when you do that, then it helps like your nose, so you can actually blow your nose, and you're not doing that like when you try to suck in, and nothing. Yeah. You get a little whistle through one
If
side.
you're sleeping like that, he kept me all night with.
It's the worst.
Well, the other thing about the video version of the podcast this week is it's finally recorded in 1080p, even though I've been paying to be able to do this streaming and recording in 1080p for quite a while. I didn't realize I had it on 720p the whole time.
Grandpa.
For everybody, you know how I found out? We played Gloomhaven last night, and I went to watch the stream of it for a little bit. I couldn't read any of the cards or anything. I was like, what the heck's going on? So then I went and looked in the settings today. I was like, oh, well, no duh. It's streaming at 720. Of course, I can't read anything.
YouTube does take forever to actually process anything, right? It takes like 48 hours to get the actual sort of.
That's true.
And even then, it's still compressed. So.
Right. Next time, it'll be crystal clear. You'll be able to see what we're doing in Gloomhaven. I had a ton of fun playing Gloomhaven last night.
That was great.
It was good.
Yeah.
I just I was almost like, because I was a little bit sick today, I was like, hey, what if we don't record the podcast and we just play Gloomhaven again?
I would have said yes. Yeah.
You know,
Right.
like I'm
Nothing against this. I would like to play it again. Who was in the chat there asking, sort of like, oh, are there damage modifiers, that sort of thing? It's like, man, that's a
board
cool
to play.
game.
Yeah.
Board to play. And it's such a good adaptation of the board game. And I feel like they really did add some of the things we were talking about in terms of like, well, they mastered it from a board game perspective. It's a direct translation.
Oh, yeah. It is the same thing.
Now I feel like they're adding stuff to make it a better video game where, we could see what was happening. Some things on the game were visually easier to see, rather than like, well, it's a hex tile game and we can only have 8 points of view. And like, well, a treasure chest is always brown and we don't want it to glow. That would be too video gamey. Now you can see those sorts of things. So we'll see.
Yeah, we just need to know. We need the talk out loud of what the enemies are doing.
Right.
Because we messed up a few times where I kept killing them and they like blew up at you guys.
Well, I almost never even look at what the enemy AI cards get drawn. What they
I don't.
I don't. I just kind of wait to see what they're gonna do.
And we probably should look at those.
No, I just
we probably should. Well, because
but yeah, we probably
at least
should.
a little bit.
It was different on the table because on the table you would draw them out and we would read them together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right, because we were going to have to enact the AI, right?
And we paid much closer attention to initiative and turn order and number of turns when we were on the table. Here, it's like stuff happens so fast. It's like, we'll just wing it. But it's because if you lose, you're not sacrificing 2.5 hours. You're losing 45 minutes, maybe an hour.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
very true.
Lower stakes, essentially.
But it gives the lower stakes gives me the freedom to be more creative, take bigger risks, and I think it pays off. I think we play better in the digital version because we're willing to do the kind of risks that we would be too conservative on the table probably, and then we would always lose on time.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And then, like you said, kind of 2 hours
cards.
later, we run out, and then setup is another 30 minutes to get everything back. And by that point, we're like, never mind. Let's just
Yeah. Well, one thing I find I'm really bad at gauging is like whether when we're let's say 2/3 of the way into a mission or 3/4 of the way into the mission, I always am like, there's too many guys left for how many cards we have left. We're not going to win.
That is
and
really
I'm so
tricky.
bad at judging that because it seems like.
Well, we were close yesterday. I think I was on like my last or second to last turn.
I mean, that's what keeps it interesting, right? We've had missions where half the party succeeds. I think everybody lived last time, right? And that's where you want it, because even the people who die or pass out or whatever the term is, it's still done. It's fine. Yeah. There's no penalty for that.
Right. Well, even if you fail a mission, you still get all your XP that you earned from your cards.
Right.
So you could come back stronger. You keep all your gold and your XP. You just don't get the mission bonus, and obviously you don't continue the story. But even losing a mission is not fruitless.
Yeah.
I do want to focus more on trying to get the check marks from the battle cards. I'm so bad at that. This time I had an easy one. It was don't pick up any loot with the Tinkerer.
Yeah, I
forgot that.
Easy.
That one's so easy, and I think you get 2 check marks from it.
Wow,
that's insane. Mine was have 5 cards left at the end, which
that's impossible for you, though.
So I don't. My other one though was like kill everyone. It was something insane too, where I'm like, well, that's not going to happen either. So
what do you got to do? You got to get 3 check marks to change a card or something like that?
3 check marks, and you get a perk. The perk is where bonus. You get the same. You get to modify your. You get to modify your deck.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
And add in the +2 or ×2 or like all that stuff.
That's the good part. That's the real. That's the fun.
Man.
That's how you get good in the game.
Stuff.
Yeah. Better than the better cards even is like when you pull up a +1 wound. That's
stuff like
that's such a good card. I just added one of those to my Tinkerer deck.
Welcome to Wound Town.
Do you guys? I'm playing 2 characters. Do you find that annoying? Because I can always pull one out.
No.
Totally on. Like I would if I don't even notice it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, because you know it well enough, and you know the characters well enough. It might slow down if we make the same mistake we did on the board game, which is, well, if we all change classes at the same time, then you're learning too.
Yeah.
Those first couple missions will be, I mean, they'll be long either way.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just
I
a
doubt
bad
that'll
idea
happen.
it's just a bad idea to all switch at the same time.
I feel like we just need to keep the Tank either way. Can we just keep
I do.
Tank around?
I think
Tank
he's
forever.
OP.
He's like
He needs
the
to be
guy.
nerfed. Yeah.
He's so good. It's funny because I was playing just to sort of play the game a little bit. I was playing my own a campaign on my own with 3 characters. And I'm not that far ahead actually of where we are because I keep losing when I play by myself for some reason.
That's a lot it's a lot to juggle. And yeah.
I don't understand why when I play without you guys I lose.
It's so
Weird
Very
how that
strange.
works.
I don't get it. But I leveled up the Tank to a card where you burn it, but you can stun 2 enemies at range, and I was like, "That's awesome!" And I never use that card because I'm so afraid to burn it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I took one that doesn't burn this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the tricky part.
Good
I have a
times.
lot
Go
of those
watch that on
cards.
YouTube. It's fun. It's cool. And
Yeah.
get that game. If
You'll-
you're curious and you have a friend group, it's really good. I think it's really great.
Yeah, it is fun to
It
play
works
online.
great. The multiplayer is easy. Somebody just hosts the game, and then you just assign character slots to people. It's like once I figured out how it works, it's simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we need to do it more. I think we should play this weekend if we can.
Yeah. There's
I
even
just wanna
there's a
keep going.
decent tutorial too. If you're totally new to it, it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Nice.
I think. Yeah.
So it's 2022.
Ooh, baby.
Did you do anything on New Year's, Ken?
Of course not. No.
You went downtown. You got a taxi. You were.
Downtown. Well, no. Interestingly, the folks on our street who are party animals, they do what apparently this is a thing. It's called a progressive party, which is it's not like a political thing. It's you have brunch at Susie and Jimmy's house.
Well, this is a lot.
Awesome.
Right, already
I'm
you're
already
exhausted
like
by it.
stressed a little.
I
bit.
agree. You go and you have your mimosas and your whatever's at Susie and Johnny's. You go over to maybe there's a break somewhere in there. There's a mid-afternoon like cocktail and snack thing at Timmy and Tara's.
I like
and
the
then
names.
and then there's a dinner, which I assume you're supposed to stay till midnight from at Ben and Emily's. And it's like I have better things to do than spend 24 waking hours with the people on my street. And they're great. I don't even think
but
I would
that's
do
a
that with you
lot.
guys.
You
I
know,
would have to leave.
I would be like, I need to leave and come back.
That's
an
like
hour
go
until-
outside and smoke a
Yeah.
cigarette type
Yeah.
thing. Like, and I'm gone for 3 hours.
I love
Anyway,
all the
we didn't
meals,
do it.
though. Like, I love
What's
the
that?
idea of eating
That's
all
true.
the food. The
That's
meals.
But in between meals, I'd be like, okay, I'll meet you later. I don't know.
Also,
I
it
couldn't-
was like -10, and they were lighting off fireworks in the court. And it's like, I'm good.
no.
There's like
Yeah.
2 ways to die.
I don't
Burned
want
to
do
death
that
and then
anymore.
frozen just as fast. I'm good.
Your burned out corpse is then frozen solid by the
Right.
time
It's like
they
one of those
find you.
mysteries.
As soon as it
of-
stops sizzling, it does that ice crackle over sound effect.
Well, we
then, of
spent
course-
one. Oh,
Sorry.
go ahead.
The people who were hosting the dinner have COVID. Got COVID like 2 or 3 days
Oh, my
beforehand,
gosh.
and so
Oh,
it even we had never intended to go, but it wound up falling apart anyway. And it was like, well, that sucks. But
oh
Yeah.
darn! Oh no!
and so now there's a bunch of 60 somethings lighting off fireworks in the court in their
Yikes.
full snow blowing gear, like shuffling around
is
out
like
there.
Such a Minnesota
It's a wild,
thing.
it's
I
a
feel.
wild crew out there.
I'll
I,
snow blow my way to the
Pretty much,
cul-de-sac,
yeah.
and then we'll light like.
well,
Like
I
the
remember
mailman's
the
coming.
one.
Everybody clear the street. The plow hasn't gotten here yet. Everybody fire up.
It's their duty. Yeah, exactly.
That one New Year's we spent in Minneapolis,
Oof.
where it was -5, and all the girls were in like New Year's dresses,
Right.
walking
Just-
from
now
bar
I'd
to
be
bar.
like, I'm gonna wear my snowsuit. Like the fact that I was
Yeah.
like, I guess I gotta wear a dress.
There wasn't
why?
like Ubers or anything, was there?
No, I think we did get some sort of taxi or so. It was like taxis.
It was
a
like a
taxi
taxi,
there.
though.
But trying to leave like downtown Minneapolis
Oh my gosh.
right after New Year's it's not a
It's
thing.
probably 2
my
hours
feet were like
just to get
just like hard chunks of ice
yeah.
trying to, And then I went back and cried in the bathtub while my feet unthawed. Like,
I was going to say, I hope it was warm.
It was horrible, but...
No, we didn't do anything. You guys do anything?
No.
No. We played Underwater
we
Cities.
Stayed up. Yeah, we played a game. Maybe we stayed... We didn't do like a countdown.
You know what I did watch? I watched Witcher. What else would I do?
Nice.
Okay.
Yes.
I think I climbed up the stairs at like 11:37.
Yeah.
As the fireworks were going off in the court next to us.
As Geralt.
Right. I won't say his one-word catchphrase, lest you get demonetized or whatever. But we'll talk about that later. I think I want to talk.
We'll
about
get into
that.
some Witcher. Don't you worry.
Good.
So, Em, do you want us to give some New Year's resolution?
I was going to ask if you had any.
Did you say your tagline? It says here in the show notes, Happy New Year, bitches.
Everyone, Happy New Year,
Oh, I
bitches.
didn't even see the bitches. Sort of insult.
That's
just
sort of
passes
Emily's
over me.
That's kind of my thing.
Yeah,
That's
your
what she does.
catchphrase.
Resolutions. Do you
Yeah.
have why don't you lead us off with some resolutions?
Well, I guess my one thing, this isn't like a big one, but I need to start like walking with Potato again, now that I can actually walk. But walk distances
Keep
more
your
than
enemies close and your friends, or your friends close and your enemies closer, right?
But I don't know, to actually, because I was in such a good, wasn't like a big exercise, big time thing, but I would do like 2+ miles in the morning every morning, and now I'm like, well, I shuffle around the house for the last couple months.
It was
Right.
more
So I
than
need to
that,
do
right?
that.
I mean, you were doing like 45-minute, hour-long walks.
Yeah. And then
That's
sometimes
nice.
the afternoon. So now I need to attempt to do that again now that I can walk. So
Cool.
that's my main
Get
thing.
after it.
Maybe bend my knee. That'll
How
be
many?
my big.
Yeah. How long what is the next after you get into walking? Then how long before you get into the gym and do powerlifting?
I don't know,
Right.
until I can walk and not be out of breath by the time I'm back to the car. How about that?
I love that the answer wasn't never.
Right.
That
Yeah.
makes me so happy.
I
Take
just
what you
never
can
want,
get, man.
I never want to go in the gym being like, me walking is tiring right now.
Of
like,
course
that's
not.
That's
I
fair,
don't,
yeah.
That's not fun then. So
But you didn't say
if I
never.
could get through the walk without my knee being in severe pain and I can breathe, then we'll talk.
build it back up. Don't you worry.
Great. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything. What's yours to get me in the gym?
My New Year's resolution to get Emily in the gym. No, but I
Change
do
someone else.
want to take exercise more seriously. What do I mean by
How
that?
could it be more seriously?
Good question, Emily. I think I put 100% effort into my workouts. And I think I put about 10% effort into the rest of my life to support the workouts.
Yep.
I waste so much energy and effort on working out in
Okay.
eating bad, drinking
Yeah.
too much, not sleeping
bad.
enough.
Yeah.
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 And I see the benefits I could see from the effort I put in the gym would at least, I bet they would be like double if I actually
Yeah.
thought the way outside of the gym than I do inside the gym.
Yeah. But it's a lot easier to think intensely for 1 hour than it
Yeah.
is to, work at 60%, 17 hours of the day.
Right, exactly.
Monitor everything.
Yeah.
Right?
You're absolutely right. And I think
Yeah.
so it takes up setting up some rules, right? They need to be simple, measurable things. So for me, it's like
Are you just winging it right now? You coming up with all your rules right here?
The
There we
rules, well, I got to lower the carb intake a little bit, I think. But it's for me the big thing is don't take seconds at dinner. If I just waited 5 minutes.
You're a seconds guy?
He's
Wow.
a-
I eat until
Not
it like
only-
hurts every day. I probably eat 3,600 calories a day. I'm not
Oh,
kidding.
I'm sure I do too.
Not
but
only is it seconds, but
Not
then I
from
look over
seconds.
while I'm still eating, and he's like getting a bowl of cereal going. And
Sometimes
I'm
like,
was
should I-
dinner not enough? Like you just had like 6 tacos, and it's like a little sweet treat
Am I
on the
insane?
side.
No, wait, yeah. You say sweet treat. Am I insane? But because I'll have a big old plate, and then it's like, well, what if I had like a little, like I don't know, just a little jelly on some bread?
Yeah, right?
You
Little
know, not
toast,
quite
yeah.
little
dessert.
buttered toast.
Not quite dessert. Just a little.
But like a good,
like an after dinner mint that's 400 calories.
Right, exactly. If you have a good slice of bread, like a good sourdough with some butter and like
that's
a
my
good
bread.
jam.
Yeah.
I'm a sourdough man.
Man, like you're like that is dessert to me. I enjoy that just as much as more than I would like a piece of cake. I would love a slice of toast.
I would take toast 100%. Over cake. Yeah,
absolutely. And so I that's my New Year's resolution, to stop wasting my time in the gym.
But we just came up with so many good snacks.
That's
the
fine.
Goat cheese, the bread.
Goat cheese.
I have to plan for that.
Premium goat cheese, sourdough bread, and raspberry jam in the fridge right now. And if you think I'm not eating a slice after this, you're kidding yourself. I might have to get it mid-show. We'll see.
Like, here's the hardest rule. I only have 2 rules. No seconds at dinner.
And other anything goes, and no rules, right? There are no rules.
The other rule's the hardest one, and I have followed it before successfully. It's 2 drinks a night, 2 times a week.
Oh, I thought you were going to say just 2 drinks a night.
Which means I get 4 drinks a week. 4 drinks a week. Now, it's not 0.
Is it like
it's not dry
drink?
January or
whatever.
You
can, well, 1.5 ounces is 1 or
like
1
whatever,
ounce. Yeah. Right? 6 ounces of wine.
This was probably a double.
Yeah.
It was a big whiskey.
Because 4 drinks a week, you can successfully out-exercise.
Yes.
Now, damage to your internal organs aside, calorie-wise, you can out-exercise that. Yeah.
It is a hard lifestyle change, though, because, like when we were playing Rainbow Six, we'll get into Rainbow Six later, but when we were playing Rainbow Six last week, I was jittery as all get out.
Party time.
And the first question everybody asked, do you have a drink yet? And I was like, no, it wasn't one of my drink nights. And
that's the gamer fuel.
I know.
2 beers
I needed it.
G fuel.
I was trash all night. I was so bad.
It showed. We'll talk about it.
Right, it showed. It freaking did. I sucked. I sucked, man. Like Evan's putting 18 kills up on the board.
Well,
me and you are sharing 10 between us.
My brother-in-law Matt plays with us, and after the first time we played, he didn't call me, but he texted me. He's like, "What's up with that Evan guy?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" like that dude's pro. I'm like, "Yeah, that's just like his thing." Like, I don't know how to explain it to you. He will beat you in any video game.
Every video game.
Yeah,
he's so
just
good
pick one.
Video games.
It's just his thing.
That's weird.
He is. He's like at Apex. He's like pro at Supreme Commander, which is an old RTS. If anybody's ever played it, he's so good. He'll beat everybody by himself. You could have everyone on one team and him
7 versus
by himself,
1.
and he'll win. He's
what the heck?
Unreal. Yeah,
it's just a gift.
Oh, don't forget, Ken, I got to ask you later if we want to play Rainbow Six tomorrow or we want to do Warzone or whatever. Then do we want a normal boys' night or are we doing Rainbow Six?
Are we making plans right now?
Well, no. Here, Matt's out of town for a couple weekends in a row because it's ice fishing season, I think. So it's probably Rainbow Six.
All right. I'll tell him.
I think. We'll talk about it. We'll talk of it later. Later.
Ken. New Year's resolutions. You got any or none?
Well, I wanted to add a third, not a rule, but a
guideline.
A live, laugh, love, if you will, for your 2
Bless
rules,
this mess.
which is
2 drinks, no seconds.
In cursive, like
steel cut, in the big font,
laser cut out.
Oh, that's what I want. 2 beers a night, 2 times a week. I want that in cursive.
But you need it in the gym,
like your kitchen. Yeah. No, it's and it has like grapes on it and stuff.
God.
Right. And people are like, "What the hell does that mean?"
Those are Ben's
but
rules.
2 drinks, 2 nights a week.
It means exactly what it says.
No, I was just gonna say, it's you build your body in the gym, but you reveal it in the kitchen. That's the sort of.
Yeah, you're right.
And the second part of that is the hardest
right
part. You can do, as Ben and I have probably proven to ourselves at least, boy, you can build all you want. It's still a crooked house with too big of love handles on it. Anyway.
Right? It's like spending 1 hour a day digging a hole and spending the whole rest of the day filling it back in.
Yeah. But boy, did I work hard when I was digging.
Oh, the dirt's a little looser. That's about it.
I don't have a resolution, but I did I've been working out harder lately, and I hit a PR in a certain movement that is notoriously difficult for me and everybody else. But the point I wanted to make was that's a resolution from last year, sort of.
Nice.
A very, wishy-washy, like, hey, I did really good in February of last year. I want to do better, or at least the same this year. And it takes a year. That's if your resolution is anything, realize that you got a year to do it, right? Like,
right. Yeah. It's not instant.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Especially now where it's like, I felt kind of bad posting. Like, nobody gives a shit what I lift, right? But for me, it was like, okay, I hit a PR on.
I care.
I hit a PR on January 3rd. Well, guess what? It took me 11 months to get there.
Yeah.
I didn't start January 1st. Man,
2 days, baby.
I jumped out of my chair. I didn't know how to correctly.
Ben came and got me, and he was like, "Did you just see that?" Like, he was so, and I was like, "See what?" Like, I didn't know what.
It was a big squat.
Like,
I never would have. Anyway,
also,
it's like what you said the other day, though. Like, up until the Invitational last year, you had squatted 325.
Yeah,
and at the Invitational, you squatted 355 out of nowhere, and it was
didn't make any sense.
It was awesome. And then this year, you start squatting again, and you're moving 335 like it's nothing. And I was like, you got this in the bag, man.
Yeah.
And then so when you did a double at 355, and then went up and did 375, and even that moved pretty quick. You weren't
fast.
Stuck. You were not really stuck in that. Like you got more in the tank, man. We got another 4 weeks here before the Invitational. I don't know. Like you're going to be.
Well, that's the only thing I've been training, so everything else has declined.
You'll be scraping at 4 plates.
But my point is, well, don't put that in my head yet. My point is, people, it's a year resolution. Give yourself some grace. Take time with it. All this talk about weightlifting and taking care of yourself in the kitchen, boy, it's a millimeter at a time. Tiny steps, baby steps.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Baby steps on your resolutions.
Yeah,
don't beat yourself up.
I need to hear that. I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking about how hard I have worked in that gym. Like so hard to gain. Like the first time we did the Invitational, I squatted 400. Wow. And last time we did the Invitational, I squatted 415. And this time, maybe I'll get 440 because I worked on squat a lot. I worked on squat a lot, and I got in 2 years 40 pounds. But it just takes time, man.
And you're in that zone where you're in the zone, and you're in the age where it's like diminishing returns, right? If we were 25,
the strongest
it'd be
we'll
a different,
ever be, right?
Right. It's a different story when you're 25. Gosh, what's the average age of a competitive power lifter?
I don't know.
25?
I don't know. I remember
super young.
It's really where I find it hurts even more is like running. Like
Yeah.
I remember like very little training, and I busted out a 1916 5K one summer. I was like, I'll do this 5K. I ran a 19. I don't think at any amount of training could get me that fast again at this age.
I know I
Once
couldn't.
you hit 30, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, things are running different. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like everything is like times 2 in how hard it is to,
Yeah.
You
But
got
I
to figure out
love
how to
trying.
adapt to it, though. Yeah, it is fun.
Yeah.
I
do
love trying. I don't ever find it frustrating. It's like the one thing in my life that I just always love working on.
Wow.
I just,
great. I'm right here, but no, I'm kidding.
Babe, I don't have to work on our relationship. It's perfect.
My resolution is to, hey, stop that. Okay, those are good ones, though.
I don't have one. What should my resolution be?
To get those papers signed.
Gather.
Get good.
Live, laugh, love.
Live, laugh, love. Get good. That needs to be a
I'm
resolution.
No, I
Send
think
you a
my
sign if you
resolution. My resolution kicks in post powerlifting meet, because then it's run time. Then everything changes to like, all right, we're doing, multiple 5Ks a week, probably at least 2, some kind of low intensity steady state for like a really long time, couple days a week. Then it's shred time. It's a totally different program in a month from now.
I was talking to Evan and Gage, who are a couple guys I work out with on the weekends, and I was like, all right, we spend all this time building strength. And last year it was like, what are we building strength for? What are we going to use it for? And at that time it was like, to go hammer
it's not for using, it's for having, right?
Well, right, but like, okay, we build out the strength, what can we do with it? Well, last year was like, well, let's go hammer some CrossFit workouts. Well, CrossFit workouts suck.
Yes.
Nobody likes doing CrossFit. Mm-hmm. You know what else strength is good for? Bodybuilding. Once you're strong enough to tear your muscles apart,
boy, then you can just
right.
Sorry, I'm running right over you. You're absolutely right, though.
You're right. Yeah. If you're strong enough to squat 4 plates, you can do. How many reps can you do at 225? You want to talk about building some legs?
Can't do enough.
It's the same way. Like, you build up your bench, then go back down to go 1 to 85 and just rep it out. Baby.
What were those crazy, that bench we did?
Where it's just 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. And you
just keep putting 10 plates on.
And you put them on until you can't do it anymore, and then you start taking them off.
And you don't get anywhere near your like max bench. It's just and then you have to go down the ladder where you're just like that's good stuff. That's fun.
Look at how excited you're getting about getting in the gym.
Yeah. Megan was doing it, and then she got sick, and I even caught her. I literally caught her doing deadlifts. She tried to be sneaky. She snuck the barbell into the garage because they're inside because it's goddamn ice cold in the garage.
Mine's in the mudroom.
Yeah, and she was doing deadlifts. And she's doing 5x5s at 80%. I was like, you telling me you just went out there and it's crazy.
I can't do a 5x5 at 80% deadlift.
I can't either. Well, that's because she's got to figure out what her true max is, right? We haven't gotten to that rate of perceived effort 10 yet. I don't think we ever will, and that's okay.
An actual man,
where your eyeballs come out of your skull and you gotta.
An RP 10 deadlift means I can't lift up the bar anymore afterwards. The nervous system is blown to shreds.
Right. You need somebody else to take the weights off the barbell.
You don't have to do that.
Shuffle out here.
I just need my knee to not be. I still can't bend my knee. I can't straighten or bend all the way.
Just get freakishly good at pull-ups and upper body stuff.
You're light enough for it. You could get crazy good at that stuff.
I don't have any arm strength.
It comes.
The only strength I ever had in the past was stomach muscles.
Oh,
I could do sit-ups. I could beat the whole class in sit-ups, kind of thing, like in the gym.
A strong core. That's your foundation. That's the only place there isn't bones supporting you. That's why the core is so important.
I don't have a strong core. I should work on it.
That's my one good trait.
There you go.
All right, we have a lot to cover today because I really want to talk about what we've been watching, and I really want to talk about what video games we've been playing, and I also just want to run through the board games.
All right.
The only other thing here, Ken, you said that you've been gaming crazy. Is that true?
Yeah. And we'll get to the specific games, but I took the week off. Boy, this was a bit of an experiment. Took the week off between Christmas and New Year's, and it didn't quite work out because, of course, for some reason, some sick people on this planet still think you're supposed to work during that week. And for the most part, I didn't have any issues, but somebody, I had to do a little bit of work. But I gamed, we're talking you get up, you slide into your sweatpants and your slippers.
You slide into her DMs.
Right. Sam and Gucci slide. And I was playing a solid 3 hours of video games every morning from Sunday to Saturday. No joke. Because the kids are pretty agreeable in the morning. And then once they realize that there's no school that day, and then it was like, well, what are we doing today? But boy, we'll get to the games. Pokemon, Avengers, Spider-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, Nintendo, PlayStation. It was. I think what was new for me, was that it was all couch stuff. Because normally I'm a computer guy, love my PC, it's my baby, that's my little hot rod down there. But to just lay there and just
put the lats out.
When you're sitting there, you're scooching the bottom cushion
your
on the couch out, and the back starts to like, and then you're wondering,
your neck,
like why is my neck on a piece of wood back here?
Woo!
And you got to do that twice while you're playing. Boy, that was
Damn,
fun.
I'm having fun tonight.
Like
This is
I
good
haven't
stuff.
played games like that in like decades. I haven't played games like that.
Like this flat.
Just wasting away. Felt good.
I play video games in the morning. That's when I play video games. That's when I play. All right. Speaking of playing, why don't we talk about some board games? Here's what we're gonna do.
Whoa, that was a really good like Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Like when you would do I can't. I need that on a sound
probably can't do it again. So
yeah, don't even
try.
try.
Just save that.
This podcast lines up with a holiday break. So we set out to play a lot of games, and we did. And as much as I would love to talk about all these board games in depth, we probably don't have time. So we're going to hammer through some of this. We're going to talk about some of the new stuff, I think, maybe a little bit more than some of the older stuff. And then we really want to talk about...
you want to do brick and mortar, right?
Yeah. So let's hear, what did we play over the break? We played the new expansion for Lost Ruins of Arnak called Expedition Leaders. This is not yet available everywhere. I was drooling over it, and some of our friends who went to PAX Unplugged picked a copy up for us and shipped it in the mail. It was really the nicest thing ever. So thank you, Roberto and Kate. We really, really appreciate it.
Cool.
It just showed up one day, and I was like, wow, would you look at this? Like, it was very exciting.
This expansion is the perfect type of expansion. It adds very little mechanisms and just adds more options. And so it adds there in Arnak, there is a artifact deck and an item deck. It adds more to those for the deck building. There is a... what's the track on the side of the board? The temple track. Yeah. So in the base game, there's two sides of the board with two different temple tracks. This comes with two more temple tracks. They just fold out and you just put them on top. And they're full of all kinds of crazy stuff. They're harder to get up, but they have sort of like weirder rewards and weirder costs. And
just more variety, which is nice.
It's just fun. I liked them. I liked how the one had like an artifact on it. And like another one like blows up worker placement spaces on the board. We didn't play that one yet.
Cool.
Oh, okay.
The new mechanisms come in that there are expedition leaders. So each player can have, if you play with this module, they have a special starting deck of cards and then a special power. And that's it. That's the only new mechanism in the expansion. But I thought that was a ton of fun. I always love when we played Clank Legacy or we talked about the Clank Adventure Party last time. I love when in a deck builder, it's like, no, here's your starting deck, and it's different. And so your abilities are going to be a little bit different. I don't know. Overall, it's like easy to add in. It's great. Yeah. It's like it's not a must-have, but it's there's nothing bad about it. It's awesome.
More of what you want, right?
Yeah.
Let me keep playing the game.
What'd you think?
Keep it fresh.
I like it. I like ones where it just adds to it and doesn't change the actual game. And this one just adds more to it. Nice. The cat's like losing her mind over there, so you might hear some things, but
I don't think anybody can. They can only hear you being distracted by a cat.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, what? She's trying to go under the rug.
Jellicle cats. Oh man, when are you guys going? 15?
Saturday.
Whoa, that's right. Showtime.
As long as Ben isn't like dying.
Can you live stream it from
as long as
your
I drink
phone?
whiskey, I'll be better.
Get a huge.
You want me to like?
Oh my gosh, we'll live stream cats for you. That's what we'll do.
Take some pics at least. Can you?
Yeah.
Can you meet Rum Tum Tugger?
I hope so.
Sometimes after the
Backstage
show,
pass,
you can like they'll come out and stuff and be like in the lobby area, and I'm hoping that if that's the case, I'm totally like we need to get a picture.
You guys got to go nuts, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Just
start going to be all catted out.
I'm very excited.
Put on your gear from the
do you want to put on your makeup and just tell them that you're needed backstage? Just
put on
the Rum
sit
Tum
in
Tugger.
one of the
put on a tux and the cat makeup.
like a cat.
I'm Mr. Mistopheles.
No, you're just a fan of the show.
You want it when they look out at the crowd, they
to see the same cat faces looking back at
right. Like it's just a cat looking back at the cats.
That would be really good.
Yeah, that would be good. Similarly to Lost Ruins of Arnak, we got the new Tapestry expansion, another game that we have liked. Plays well at 2, plays well at more. I really like that. It's like a civilization game, but it's played strangely in that you're just like going up tracks.
Yeah.
Like that sounds weird, and it is, but it works for some
Going
weird
up
way.
tracks, getting the rewards, and kind of building your own little city.
So there's normally a track for exploration and expansion. There's a track for like military conquest. There's a track for technologies, and there's a track for science, which lets you go up the other tracks for free. This expansion adds a 5th track, the arts track. That track comes with little bonuses you can get on it called masterpieces, I think is what they're called. But other than that, it just adds some new civilizations,
It's just more stuff again.
tapestry
It's
cards,
like the same
new
thing,
technologies.
but just more options.
Same thing. It just has that new. The track
Which I
works
love.
the same as the other tracks, and the resource. Normally each track requires a certain resource to go up. This track requires wild resources, any resource to go up. It's just another
that's
track,
cool. I like
another
that.
option.
Yeah.
It's just
It really doesn't change
adds
the game
more.
at all. It's just one more option again. So.
Cool.
Do you need this expansion? No. Did I find it fun? Yeah. For a game I love making it just bigger and more. Like I just
Give me more
it
of
didn't
what I
make it more
want.
complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I didn't go up the arts track at all, and Emily
I did
destroyed
a
me.
little, and
So
yeah,
I didn't
I think
appreciate
I got
that.
my high score. on that.
Yeah.
So just saying.
I just didn't appreciate it.
Another new to us game that we picked up. So we went to a local game store called the.
Modern Explorers Guild.
Yes, thank you for remembering. We had heard
And it's
good
a
things.
game store?
It's a game store. From the outside, it looks not like just a game store. So it tricked us for a while. I thought it was just like maybe some people play D&D or Magic or like that kind of thing.
Huh.
Or even like video games. I wasn't sure. But when you go in there, it's like a full-on board game store. So
Cool.
it kind of tricked
It was
us.
awesome. So, like, Ken, if you remember Game On, it had like
Yeah,
magic
Game On
cards
was
and
nice. Yeah.
Warhammer and like painting stuff, and then it had like a couple shelves of board games. This is a board game store. It is
Okay.
shelves and shelves and shelves of board games.
Wow.
It was super cool. They had like
It was really nice.
everything.
Wow.
I'm glad we found this place. It's kind of new
That's
to
how
the town.
That's how there's a place out here called Dreamer's Vault that is like that. And I was trying to find
Okay.
paint. This was months ago. And they're like, no, you paint what? And they had a few. Fortunately, they had a, what is it called?
Vallejo?
No, what's the big one? Or the pots, the dumb little pots.
Oh, Citadel paints?
Yeah, they had Citadel stuff, but it was all board games. And I was like, oh, I came for one pot of paint. Here I am looking at, I got my stack that I want to buy and stuff. But
Oh, man.
that's cool. Good to have
Yeah.
a true board game
A
store.
true board game
Yeah.
store. And they had Vallejo paints. I might pick a couple up just to try.
I want to try Vallejo. Let me know.
Yeah. We'll
Let me
see.
know. We need to get painting again. We need another challenge, Ryan.
We need
Give us
Ben.
another-
I think Ben wanted
Yeah,
to do a challenge.
maybe we
this
should.
time.
Date Night Dice will host the next
Yeah.
challenge.
Let's do it.
Maybe we can do.
Do you
some.
have
I'm ready.
Marvel United X-Men? Or you
I
canceled
have
your
them-
pledge, didn't you?
Right here. They have yet to be painted. Because I started
gosh.
buying
Oh,
All right.
Okay. Well, then
started
there we go.
buying them piecemeal,
Ooh.
and I got Shang-Chi.
So do you have X-Men though, or do you have
I
just a
don't
bunch
have
of the other
X-Men.
expansions? Well, I gotta
I
wait
think
for
we
all my
talked
other
with-
expansions to show up then.
I think we talked with Ryan about doing one that was basically you pick whatever model you want,
Ooh, I like
Yeah,
that.
that could
It's
be
not
and then
as,
we just do like 6 weeks in a row, one model.
That's a good idea
Yeah.
because then you're not directly
little-
comparing the same
Right.
mini.
You get to have a little more
Yeah.
fun with it. Yeah, I think that could
I
work.
love that idea. I really like that idea. All right, we'll have to talk about that offline. That's an excellent. So painting contests coming up in the future. I need that sort of motivation.
I do need
Yeah.
to paint.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
there's no time. You gotta
Yeah.
make that.
It's like it immediate. If it's not something we're actively doing, it falls off the radar so fast it's not even
Right.
funny. Yeah.
Oh, I know. All right, so we went to the game store. We picked up 2 games because we're polite, and I love buying games. We
'Cause we're both-
What does that mean? That was like the most passive aggressive thing I've ever heard in my life.
I could
they
not
pressure
leave with a
you
game.
into-
Not at all.
You,
I
you
just
can leave
that's-
without a game.
Yeah. You
No, I
definitely
can't,
can.
actually.
What did we? Oh, I know what we got.
So we picked up Monstrosity and Rolling Realms. So Rolling Realms is a new roll and write from Stonemaier Games. where you roll a pair of dice, and then everybody uses that dice on their things they're writing on. They're like
cards.
little cards that are dry erase. So you could play with infinite number of players. You're only limited by the number of cards that you have. This game's cool. Like, each of the cards is based on another Stonemaier game. And so there's like
It's almost like a bunch of mini games.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So you play with 3 at a time, and then you play 3 rounds. So you'll play 9 over the game.
Okay.
It was fine. Like, I
Would
don't
you
want to
call
play
it?
this.
Sorry, would you call it like a party game?
Yeah,
Or
I feel like
Yeah.
it is when you have like a ton of people and
Okay.
you're like, well, we can all sit around the table and do this. I would never sit down and probably be like, do you want to get that game out? Like, it was just us.
Probably doesn't work
Right.
at 2.
I
Oh, no.
almost
Yeah.
Well, it works. You could play it at 1, right? It has to have some sort of solo mode that's called like mini golf. It has different rules, but yeah, I almost want to have 2 copies so you could have 6 or 12 sets of the cards, just so you could play with a
gotcha.
bunch of people.
It would be easy to play. I mean, like Jamie made it so you could play online, like over Skype easy, and be like, well, somebody roll the dice and then we all have our little cards.
That's cool.
So it's nice in that kind of way.
Yeah.
Right.
Where you can all get it out and play together and still chit chat and everything.
That's really cool.
It's fun. It's fine. Like, I like that we have it. I don't know. We'll never pull it off for the 2 of us, but I would definitely pull it off the shelf if people were over and they're like, "You want to play a simple game?
Yeah.
Sure, here you go."
You guys have been doing some of these online, playing with other folks on Instagram or whoever it is, and it's like, well, would that work here? Would this work there?
This would work great for
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
That'd
it
be
would
great.
really work excellently.
Basically,
for
what
that.
it's designed for, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's actually
Cool.
it was that.
Yeah.
He designed it as
Wasn't
that,
it over
and then
COVID?
people liked it so much he printed physical copies of it.
I like how in his spare time
That's
he's like,
funny.
should I just
Yeah.
make a game?
Like, I don't know, maybe I'll just like make a
Oh my
game
gosh.
Like, whatever.
and I'll just like,
Just-
well, if you guys like it, like I'll print it and sell it.
Right.
Like,
Man. Yeah, we got that one, and yeah, the monstrosity. I feel like I can never
I saw some of
say
the
that.
monstrosity. That's tough.
Right. It's like monstrosity, but it's Mons Draw City.
Yeah, but in
But
that
not
one,
city.
Not city,
Not
S-I-T-Y.
city,
SITY
though,
at
yeah.
the end.
But the kids really like this one. So in this one, you have like these weird cards that have monsters on it. You get to look at it for 20 seconds. One person does. Then they have to put it down and they have to try to describe the monster to everyone without looking back at the card for 2 minutes?
2 minutes, yeah.
And then everybody tries to draw it based off of what they say. Then there's a voting for like which one they think did the best. And then everybody compares it to the card and says who they
That's
think
cool.
did the best. The kids
It's very-
love it.
That's very Jackbox party pack, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure there's an exact. Is that not in Drawful?
Well,
Close
drawful, you
to.
have to draw, like, you get like a phrase.
You get a
right?
phrase,
Yeah,
but
Draw.
I
but
mean,
it is
it's
kind of
pretty
like the
darn
same,
close. I mean,
like,
and
of
that's
the
not a
voting,
dig.
yeah.
I love that game. I'll
Yeah,
play
I
either
love
one
that
of
one.
these.
Well, everybody in this game loves being the witness, is what it's called, is the person who saw the monster.
Person
So
who
you
saw
just
it.
look at this you
Yeah.
look at this, it's a card, it's a picture
And
of
they
a
are
monster.
like weird, made
They're
up.
crazy. They're like super weird,
Yeah.
crazy monsters. You get to look at it
Cool.
and you set it down. And you'd be like, all right, so its head is like shaped like a brain,
Which
but
this
instead
you
of
could
feet,
kinda-
it has like chicken legs. And then there's 2 arms that come out the side.
And
like,
of course, the
Yeah.
kids, you're always like, what do their legs look like? And they're like noodles. And you're like, I don't know if
Well,
you're
what the-
being
Yeah.
legit or, and they're like,
Yeah.
and their eyes were like really scary. And you're like, what does that mean? And you have like
I
a
know
minute,
what that
you know.
means. Yeah. Let me
So-
just jot that
its
down.
eyes are like music notes. That
Yeah,
was
Calvin
what
said
Calvin
that
said.
yesterday. And I was like, I don't.
Yeah,
Said
but like if
okay,
you
like-
take that literally, I mean,
Yeah.
you know what to draw,
It's
right?
so good. Like, you can play this with Calvin's 5, and
And he draws
loves
it good and he
this
likes
game.
to, yeah. And then they
I should
also have
look
an
into it.
expansion that we'll probably end up getting. That's like
Like
cute,
Cute
monsters,
Monsters?
which
Uh-huh.
Elsa is
Oh, that's
like
cool.
really wants that. So we'll probably end up doing that.
Well, there's
This-
something called Monstrosity Unusual Suspects.
Oh boy! So
Or is that the
I mean,
same? Maybe that's just
It
the.
might be like another little expansion pack or something.
This is our most
I think
played
that's
game
just
over the
the name
break
of the
by
game.
far. Like, the kids just want to play it over and over and over again.
Which, I
Highly
mean,
recommend this
Yeah,
game.
it's a good one.
All
It's
right.
fun.
Awesome. It's exactly
think-
what it sounds like.
I think it's just called Monstrosity Unusual Suspects. I could be wrong.
Maybe that's the name of it. But there are 2 expansions. There's the cute monsters, and there's one more.
One more. Yeah, I don't remember what the other one was.
Let's see. We'll quickly run through here. We played Project L again with some friends. That was a hit, I think.
Fun. Yeah.
Yep. We played Orleans together. Classic.
Love it.
We played a game of Wingspan. I dominated. I got like my highest score ever. We
you did.
Evan had 35 tucked cards under
that
one
was
bird.
Insane.
I remember that Instagram post. Man,
I knew right then I wasn't
what
going to win.
is that guy's deal?
Had, like,
Why is he
stat.
able to just like
I don't know.
win?
I don't know.
things? You should be buying lotto tickets.
We also played the Crew Mission Deep Sea again.
So fun.
And we actually just talked about this. If you guys go over to the Board Vengers website or the Board Vengers Instagram, we just put up a video of some of the stuff we played over the break. And we talked about the Crew Mission Deep Sea.
Yeah.
Man, I love playing this game so much. In the original The Crew, the mission cards were just small versions of the deck. So it'll be like, oh, I need to win a trick with this card in it. And then the craziness would come from the missions. But if you played a mission, you'd move on to the next one. This one, the mission cards are like all the crazy things. And then the missions in the logbook are just like the difficulty level. Like play with a level 4 difficulty worth of these mission cards. And so you always end up doing stuff like, I will win the last trick. Yeah. Or I will win no tricks with 2s in them.
Or, they get really crazy.
I won't win any 9s.
Or, I'll win the last trick with a 2, but I also can't have any, like, something crazy where
right.
you're like, well, I can't even wrap my head around how we do this.
I love it. It's so, like, it's this cooperative trick-taking game where you're trying to just, like, manipulate the way you... Oh, it's such a...
Good.
The Crew is so good, and Mission Deep Sea is even better. It's excellent.
Nice.
We did So Clover, which also a good group one. Rolling Realms, and then Underwater Cities is what we played on New Year's.
Just gets better and better. Everybody said Underwater Cities is great. I think we were really put off at first by the card artwork and the card names. They're like, they reuse the card art and they reuse it over multiple like ages and stuff. And it's like, well, this isn't sort of a fun adventure like I had hoped for these multiple big decks.
If I'm building a city underwater, let's make this fun.
It's not
like if you improve engine number 1 to engine number 2, I would hope that the art is different on the picture of the engine. Like that's not what you're doing, but
it's not like that though. It's just like the same 70s guy in a suit. Like it's all that too.
That was the one with the weird glasses, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Hard pass
where
on
nothing
glasses.
There's occasionally like a shark with a briefcase or something. Like,
there is a shark with a headset on. And then I find that quite hilarious. But that's from the expansion.
Other than that, there's really no underwater aspect other than like maybe you can see water outside their window. It's just guys in suits.
It's lame. But all right, so we got a few plays in.
The gameplay is fun.
It's so good. There's worker placement spots that are colors. There's 3 different colors, and you have 3 different colors of cards. And you always have to play a card when you place a worker. And if the color of the spot and the card match up, you get to do both. Otherwise, the card's just wasted. So then you draw a new card off the deck each turn. So you're controlled in what you can do by your cards if you want to be efficient. And the figuring out that puzzle, man. Yeah. It's so tasty.
It is really good.
It's really good.
I just feel like it could be so much better if they update the art. Okay.
I agree. Even like Terraforming Mars doesn't have good art, but at least every card is different.
It's different, and it's like the theme is there. This one, I don't know. Yeah. And just underwater, like, come on, there's so
Show
much.
me where's the water, right?
Yeah, it's hardly, I don't know.
All right.
All right, guys.
Hot tip, real quick. There's 3 monstrosity expansions.
Okay.
Cute creatures.
Uh-huh.
There's unusual suspects.
Okay.
Which I was wrong. It's not the thing. And then there's robots, which is definitely
that was the
Rose
other
family.
Yes.
We're gonna have to get that one.
Yeah.
I cannot find the actual game itself anywhere.
And also the company that makes it is from Saginaw.
No way.
Yeah, so that was the other thing. They're like,
Cool.
they're local. And I was like,
Saginaw,
well,
Michigan,
that's pretty
that is.
cool. So, yeah.
Sag nasty.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So,
Too true.
I went to high school in northern Detroit, and we had a teacher who drove from Saginaw. He commuted 90 minutes
what?
That seems
from
Sweet.
Sag Nasty.
In junior high, we had a teacher that also did like 2 hours from Wisconsin to teach
Like, what
us
do you-
orchestra.
man,
And
what
I was
are you
like,
on?
you can't get a closer like
What?
something?
Go dig
Why?
holes.
Yeah.
You'll
I
make
didn't
more
understand
money.
either.
right. Poor concrete.
Like, even working at your local store, if you take out
Yeah.
gas, you're
Seriously.
evening out. Like, I don't know.
Weird.
Weird.
Huh.
It was crazy.
So what's
All
the
right.
big one? Tell
The
me
game
about
of the week, Brick and Mortar. So Brick and Mortar, this is published by Octoraph Games and designed by Nicholas J. McCullum. It's came out just this year, actually. I think it was a Kickstarter. It's interesting. We were talking to some of our friends. They said they played a version of this in a prototype at Gen Con one year, but it was called
Ryan.
Bodega.
He was like, this looks really
What?
familiar. Yeah, it was called Bodega. And he's like, I swore I played this. And then, yeah, he looked it up and figured out it was the same game. Or it was the
cool.
prototype, before.
So, Board Game Meeple
Yeah.
Yeah.
on Instagram, Garrett.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gareth. He said he can't stop playing this game, so I bought it from Octoraph directly, and it was kind of expensive. It was not cheap. It comes in a rather small box that is absolutely packed to the brim with stuff.
Yeah.
It is. There is no. If there was an expansion, it would not fit. The game barely fits in the box. I kind of like that it's little.
I
Yeah.
do like it's only like 2 inches, wide or high or whatever by 6, 7
Yeah.
inches. Like, it's a little box, but there's a lot in there.
I like the art. It's cute.
Yeah. It's cute and simple, but like it's clean and nice.
So this game, in this game, you are setting up shops. So you have a little player board. It's like a store. It's like a main street, let's say, that has room for 4 stores in front of you. You're setting up shops into these stores, and they sell different kinds of goods. So there's just certain kinds of goods in the game. There's like food, clothes, electronics, jewelry, and art. And so you have to. They can each hold so many, and then you try to sell some. The game is really interesting in that everybody has these cards that are called advertisement cards. And if you play them face up, that will be the supply that can go to everybody's stores.
So
If you
it'll just be like 2 jewelry or 3 groceries, and you just have that many cubes that go to the supply.
each card will be like there's
Yeah.
3 clothes and 2 jewelry. So if
Yeah.
you played that face up, then that would add to the supply. If you play it face down, that's going to be demand. So those are sort of like secret until you get to the sale
Sure.
phase. Then they're revealed. So everybody is like building stores into their storefront. You have a hand of stores that only you can build. There's also a public display. If you want to build one from the public display, you make a bid on it. You say, well, I'll build it for $8. And then everybody else around the table gets a chance to be like, I really want that one. I'm going to build it for 10. So
you just keep going until
yeah,
you know.
each of the stores sell a certain amount of certain goods, and the goods last a certain amount of time. They like have shelves that they degrade down. If they fall off the bottom, then they're out. All the stores also have special powers. Maybe they sell for more money. Maybe they sell for less, but can hold more. Maybe they give some sort of special bonus if you sell their complete inventory every turn. Or if you fill them up, maybe you get extra points. There's all kinds of abilities on these stores. It's like you can combo them with your other stores. You can have a store that makes extra money when it sells food, and then you can have another one that is like demand for food that's special just for you. So you can like combo those together and be like, that's a for sure thing. I always get to make that amount of money, that kind of stuff. You build stores, then you do the supply. If there's enough supply for everybody's stores to fill up, then you just get to fill them up at the minimum price for that good. So food's really cheap. It's like $1. Clothes are more, electronics are more,
Art is
art,
the most.
jewelry and
Yeah.
art, whatever. So you just everybody gets to buy it at the cheapest price. If there's not enough supply to fill everybody's stores, then everybody has a little dial that they secretly say how much they're willing to pay for each one of those.
Ooh, I like that.
And then you reveal who's ever willing to pay the most gets to buy first. So
and they could buy all of it, or they could just buy one.
buy one,
depending on
whatever.
what they can hold and whatnot.
Yeah, and then it goes down in however much people bid. So then you fill up your stores. Then demand flips up. You see what the demand is. If there's enough demand for everything that's for sale, everybody gets to sell all their stuff at the maximum price and everybody's happy. If there's not enough demand, which there never is, then same thing. On the dials, you have to bid secretly how much you're willing to sell that good for and how many.
That is tricky because you want to be able to do it first, but I also don't want to have to get a shitty price or what. Like, it's tricky.
I found at the first couple of plays we did, everybody was selling a lot more closer to the maximum price. And as we got deeper and deeper into it, there was a lot more undercutting happening. Like, no, I want to move these goods off the shelves. And instead of selling these for 15, I'm going to sell them for 9 each.
Yeah.
They're like, it really started to get like that. So then, so now you've made some money. You have to pay a little utilities cost. At the end of each round, you buy points. But you need to save money for the next round, too, because you're going to have to build more stores and buy more supply and that kind of stuff.
Points from buying?
There are stores will give you points.
Give you points, okay.
Yeah, there are stores that are like, if you completely fill up this store, then you get 3 points. Or if you sell everything in this store. Or if there were leftover supply, you get to fill your store for free with one type of good. And there's all different kinds. So... The game is the value of the stores is up for auction. The value of the supply is up for auction. The value of the demands is up for auction. Everything is in control by the players. Also, the number of supply, the number of demand is controlled by the players. The only thing that's not controlled is what advertisement cards you get and what stores come up. I just want to play it more and more. I feel like man. I also was worried it wasn't going to work well at 2. And Emily has just stepped out here for a moment. She'll be right back. But I was worried it wasn't going to work well at 2, but it did because you had like complete control of the supply and the demand. So, I was like, oh, there isn't going to be enough competition. But the thing is because the values of the different goods are so much different, you can't be, I'm going to be the food guy and you be the art person. Because if she's the art...
She'll run away with it.
Food sells for 6 is the max, and art sells for 25.
Right.
So you can't just let somebody get a monopoly on art.
You can't sell enough. Yeah.
No, they'll just... Yeah. They only have to sell a couple. They buy enough points, and you never catch up.
Yeah.
It's super fun. Like, this is another one. We always say, like, if you were still around, Ken, we would play this with you.
It sounds cool. I like that market interaction. That's fun to... What was it? We played a game where there was something like that, where I wish you could have... It wasn't as aggressive as this, though. There was some sort of live market.
Oh, I'm trying to think of what that was.
It was a long, long time ago.
Yeah. And
it never quite reached where you could screw somebody over by controlling the market, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't Scythe, was it?
No, I don't think so.
We played it once or twice, and the consensus was like, well, it doesn't quite get to the point where you can be like a monopoly on a certain product or a certain supply chain or something like that. But this sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun. I feel like there's a little bit of a, at first it's like, wow, this is so exciting. And then you see like, oh, there's not that many types of stores because there's like essentially these types of stores for each of the different types of goods. And you're like, even though that deck of stores is like big, you're like, oh, there's not really that many in there. And then you get past that and you're like, oh, but now we're all really playing against each other. Now we're really fighting for like that store works perfect with the other store that I have. And if you let me get that, like, you guys are going to be in big trouble. And now all of a sudden a store that should only cost $8 to build is like being bid $15 for people to, and
that's cool. I like that. I like that interaction between players where it's can't let anybody get anything, but someone will get it. Right.
Yeah. Somebody will.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yep. I highly recommend. I highly recommend Brick and Mortar. I wish we could. Emily, what do you think? No, I'm just kidding. Emily still is not back. So why don't we take a little break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about some Instagram questions. All right, and we're back. Emily's back anyway.
And we're back.
Do you have anything to say about Brick and Mortar before we move on?
I really liked it. I think what I put on Instagram was that, like, the back of the box was saying, like, it's an economic game where, like, the way it described it, I would have been like, no thanks, I'll pass. But it was really fun.
Ah, cool.
But then, like, the board game company was like, well, actually, it is an economic game. Like, they commented, and I was like, I'm sorry. Like,
yeah, take the compliment, say thank you.
And then when people were asking about it on our Instagram, they were replying to them, being like, hey, if you want to head to our website. And I want to be like, hold on, am I getting, like, some commission here for...
Yeah.
But I don't... Just the description sounded way more technical, where this game, in my mind, was you're buying and selling, you have a little shop. But if someone's like, you want to play an economic game? I'd say, no,
right.
Not at all.
Do you want to play Excel spreadsheet, the board game?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So the description made it seem a little bit different. That's all.
Awesome.
But it was fun.
Excellent. Nelson, I don't know if you listen to this podcast. You probably don't. But if you do, I am glad you mentioned Elijah Craig on your podcast, because that's the whiskey I bought, and it's very good.
I thought you could neither smell nor taste it. What happened? What changed?
Well, he had it before this.
Oh, tonight's not the first time I've had it. Right now, I can't smell or taste it.
That smells like it would, like, burn my insides.
Well, it's good right now.
You just
Elijah Craig?
Elijah Craig.
That's the whiskey or the guy who recommended it?
That is the name of the whiskey. No, the guy who recommended it, his name is Nelson. He's from Fantasy and Some Flights.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Nice guy. All right, we have a couple of, Emily, Instagram questions, I believe. You polled the audience.
Pulled a couple. By the way, audience, if people could start actually commenting on the questions.
Yikes.
Hostile.
Because we'll get, I don't know how many views on it, and then it'll be like 8 questions, and 5 of them are inside jokes that aren't questions. And I want to be like, you guys, help me out here.
It's hard to come up with a good would you rather, though, or also, whatever.
Ken's going to have Ken's Kitchen. So
what's
if
cooking
anybody,
in Ken's Kitchen?
Yeah, if anybody has any kitchen, household, whatever question, we'll direct it towards Ken.
Towards Ken.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily kitchen related.
Well, that's not true.
Maybe.
It does have to be, it's 6 degrees from Ken's cooking in the kitchen.
Okay,
so
there we go.
And that's where I have to do my homework, is to somehow relate whatever you ask
there you go.
to the kitchen. Or vice versa.
An excellent idea. I love that. I would love to hear what we have a segment here after board games called "What's Cooking in Ken's Kitchen." What do people want to hear from Ken?
Yeah.
First tip. We already talked about it. First tip, right here, right now. First tip: when you're washing your dishes, using that Dawn, they use it to clean up ducks.
Yeah.
Clean stuff up real nice. Use it on nonstick. Don't want to use it on a cast iron. But where you can also use it is to unclog a toilet.
There you go.
So after you had your meal, you did your thing. Whoa, what happened in here? You sneak that bottle of Dawn in there.
Blue Dawn dish soap.
Swirl it. Swirl the bowl.
Okay.
Leave it. Set it and forget it. Well, maybe don't forget it entirely.
I was going to say, please don't forget that situation.
I absolutely loved, Ken, the tips you were giving in your Instagram stories around like New Year's, Christmas time about what I just cracked up about that kind of stuff. It was like if you don't have little smokies, just use baby carrots.
Baby carrots and barbecue. I cashed in all my funny in like a 8-hour period.
It was so good though.
I had some cookies with mint toothpaste as the frosting.
Yeah, they were hazelnut filled with raspberry jam. You can also make them Christmas coolers by hitting it with Crest. Just load up the middle with Crest.
Oh, God.
So that's the new.
So good.
We're working. So help us out here on Instagram. Yeah. Get a hold of Date Night Dice. We're working on some form of Ken's Kitchen. What's
Right.
cooking?
Mm-hmm.
What's cooking?
Ken.
Ken's
Yeah.
Kitchen.
I burnt everything in my oven. What do I do?
What do I do exactly?
What do I do?
I don't know.
Buy a new
We'll have
oven.
to- Yeah, right.
Obviously.
Blame it on your spouse. There you go.
So Rogue Trout Games said, what game do you want that you can't get without paying a multiple of the MSRP?
So he's talking about a Grail game, hard to get, would be very expensive.
Yeah.
Think
Is there
so?
something you want?
There's only one thing that comes to mind. For Rising Sun, I have the Kickstarter version of the base game. I have a retail copy of the expansion, which means for the two expansion clans, I don't have the fancy plastic fortresses. I have the flat cardboard tokens.
Ooh.
And for the when you make an alliance, the yin yang symbol,
Yeah.
I just have cardboard for those two.
Oh, for the, yeah, you need the like really
No.
nice. Yeah.
You need the
People were
that,
charging
rock.
like $100 for those pieces of plastic. Yeah.
What?
When I was looking on eBay, this was a couple
You
years
need
ago.
to like just 3D print them.
right.
I know. Well, I'll
Or
just use
just
the
find
cardboard.
a suitable
like, it's fine.
replacement. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would love to have the Kickstarter exclusives for
great.
the expansion to Rising Sun. That's what I want.
Okay.
That'd be
That's
really
a good
cool.
one.
I just looked up Monstrosity. Can't get it for any less than 112 Australian
What?
dollars off
What?
eBay.
Well, we can
Here,
get
we'll
it
go back to that
locally
game
for,
store
like,
and we'll
10
send you a
bucks
copy.
and
Yeah,
send you one.
I can't find it. Yeah.
All right,
Well, if
we'll go
if
look.
we see it,
I'm
we'll
serious.
get you
I'll
one.
pay you. Yeah. That's
Nah, we'll send
mine.
it to you.
I want that because my kids love catchphrase and they love to draw.
Ooh.
That I heard.
No, it's
We
me
got two
kicking my desk.
questions.
Okay, I was like, hold on, I heard
This
a
sound?
child. Yeah, never mind.
Here, wait. Let me see if I can simulate a kid getting out of bed.
You need like. I could
Pitter-patter,
just hear him
pitter-patter,
running
Why
all
can I
over
not?
the.
I can't control my foot.
That's like a weird skippy hop.
Well, they're tired. He's having a nightmare.
He's tripping down the hall.
He's on roller skates.
TYG 808. I don't know if it's TIG or if it's TYG.
TI double gutter.
Oh. He said, okay, would you rather play board games but never eat cheese? I'm guessing that's directed towards me.
Yeah.
Or all the cheese but no games.
This has to be directed towards you because I could give up cheese for games. No problem.
I would give up the cheese.
You would give up cheese for games?
Wow.
I didn't think you liked board games.
I probably would
Wow.
too, actually. I was gonna say cheese, but now that I think I could probably pass on cheese. If
I
could
mean,
get
like,
my
I can
games
find
in.
another snack that I love.
Yeah.
I mean, I love cheese, but I mean, someone could show up with something else and I'd be like, yeah, that works. Like,
Yeah.
Nice.
and then
What
the
about
other
a-
one
yeah.
from the same person is, I put life. Lift weights, but no games, or you can have games, but no pumping
No pumping
iron.
iron.
This is where I draw
this-
the line.
This is not. This is
Non-negotiable.
Yeah. We have a podcast here where we talk about board games and video games and stuff, but like
But what did you intro with?
I could have a podcast every week. We could talk about working out, and I would be
Yep.
happy, man. That is my actual hobby.
Is it gonna be called pumping iron?
You could keep adding things to the list. It could be no games, no video games.
Yeah,
No,
there's-
keep throwing
there's
stuff
no-
on there.
No sex.
I don't think I would. Oh, and tell
Oh,
you would have to get. You would have to have
you
a
have to
mighty
get real
stack.
good at sex to be able to, like, what are you gonna...
Whoa!
You'd have to start cutting into like, do you want to get rid of food, water, or a roof over your head?
Right.
Or lifting.
It's
Okay.
like my family, my job, so that I can have money to pay the bills, and working out. Like I don't.
Yep.
Everything
That's
else could go.
Yep. I
There's-
agree.
That's a no-brainer.
Ouch.
That's easy.
Family was at the top. What do you mean, ouch?
Your board games just heard you say that. That's all.
Well, they know. They know their place. They're down in the basement.
Yeah.
That's true.
All the weights are upstairs.
That's true. That was it. The
That's a
other
good
one-
question because I loved
was
answering
a
it.
good
I
one.
loved answering it so
Right.
confidently.
Right.
How
To
dare
zero.
you? What are you thinking?
Don't you dare. But I like, just to expand on it a little bit, we talk about weightlifting on here like sporadically and sometimes without context, but like boy, I can't think of anything that gives me more stress relief and sort of corrects the course
Right.
of just like on a daily basis, right? Like my wife and I have the, that's the long-term plan. We're always like, it's not saving my life on a daily basis though. It's really hard to imagine not being able to work out routinely. I mean that.
I was talking to a friend recently, and he was talking about like trying to find ways to get some downtime, right? Like he was like, I love doing stuff with his spouse, and he's like, sometimes I just want to I just want like some downtime.
We're like so close to just revealing this person.
And for me, it's like I don't. That's what I get from exercise.
Yeah,
like the whole rest of the day can be anything. There can be any amount of workload from work, family, home, whatever. We can try to fit in games or painting or this or the podcast or whatever. But nothing interrupts the workout. That is sacrilege.
That's what I mean by like it resets the what's the term? You're zeroing out the scale. You're sort of calibrating things. It's a checkpoint. It's a mental and physical, like, I'm here. Okay. I don't know. It's weird to explain. I wish more people did it so that they could feel that sort of, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like we do a bit of a sort of like media board game, video game show or whatever here. So I don't think that necessarily our audience is like, hey, we want to hear you guys talk about how you added 2.5 pounders to your PR
Nobody
this
gives
week.
A shit.
But I tell you what, for me, that's all I think about. That's it.
Yeah.
Like I think, that's not the only thing I think about, but it's certainly the thing I think about the most.
Well, it's just I know it's at 1:00 we work out. Right, on Wednesdays where we wear pink. It's not up for debate. This is what we do. It's the anchor for the ship, sort of thing. I don't know.
Right.
I'm throwing out a lot of bad analogies. So somebody who's better at speaking than me, please take over.
I think it's simple. Everything else goes first. It would be the last thing I would abandon ship with. Yeah. Right, like family. Obviously, family is non-negotiable. But this is of the things I spend my effort, energy, mental energy, and time on. This is the last one to go.
One way to visualize it: a guy was talking about having kids, and he was like, he's nervous for his first kid. Talks to a trusted friend. How do you make time for the kid? I don't know. I'm juggling all this stuff. Imagine everything in your life: hobbies, work, family. It's all on your work desk, right? Clear it all off. Your kid goes right in the middle. It sits there. And then you have to hit the necessities. Work, family, spouse, existing kids, whatever they may be. After that, you can fit stuff around the side. And the first thing that goes on that table is working out. There's just no hesitation.
Good way to put it.
Yeah.
And that's a good way for like talking to somebody about a baby is like, it's right in the middle of your desk. You fit what you can around it, and that's just a reality of life.
That's a good way to put
Whoa, that's what's cooking in Ken's kitchen.
And that's what's cooking this week in Ken's kitchen. Man, you dropping some bombs on us. This is excellent.
Hopefully it can get increasingly existentially deep each time.
I love it. I love it.
Where we have to put in the YouTube video when Ken's kitchen is, so people just can.
We're gonna put a chapter Ken's kitchen. This is the first time
They're
ever
like,
we're gonna have
I'm
a chapter.
just here for Ken's kitchen. I just need my highlight of the week. Or
excellent.
Perfect.
All right. Well, we
find a good hobby. Get into it. Dig in. Do it. Anything. It doesn't have to be weightlifting.
Get out of it.
I think more people should try it, but do what you like.
Okay, we have been watching some stuff. We watching some
like
stuff.
We haven't really, but okay.
I watched something.
Yeah, you just acted like we had like a really big list, and we don't. So,
well, what have we been watching?
Random crap.
I never know what you're watching.
I don't
it's
have
a bunch
anything
of garbage
to talk
as far
about.
as I could tell.
If you look over at my screen,
Smut.
it's like a dead person is what I'm just watching. Any sort of like murder that I feel like if you ever looked over, you'd be like, what the fuck? Like, so.
Emily's editing smut on the one side, watching smut on the other.
That's kind of what did happen today.
You gotta
today
be
was an
inspired,
exception.
right?
Today was an interesting edit.
A little preview for next week. We did watch The Green Lantern as promised. Friend of the show, Ryan Reynolds, stars in The Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And we will talk all about Ryan Reynolds and The Green Lantern next week. I don't want to say too much about it, but it is definitely D-list material.
Mm-hmm.
Would anybody disagree with that?
No, but if anyone personally knows Ryan Reynolds and you would like for him to be on the podcast, you can contact me immediately.
BenM,
You know the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Channing Tatum and Ryan Reynolds are invited to the show anytime.
Friends of the pod.
Wait, was Channing Tatum in this, or that was the other one? That was Free Guy?
That was Free Guy. No, Channing
he
Tatum
was
is not
in
in
Free
Green
Guy.
Lantern.
I feel like Channing Tatum could have been in Green Lantern, and I totally would have missed it. We'll get there.
Now,
We'll get
you're
to
going to
it.
get me going on Green Lantern.
We'll get to it.
What a...
Don't
Don't say
You gotta save it for
anything.
D-list.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll get
all
to
right.
it. What
Ken,
else?
Here's what we need to do. We need to spend the next few minutes convincing Emily
45 minutes.
She
I was
needs
gonna
to watch The Witcher.
I know. I'm
Yes.
sorry. I'm hitting things now. I'm gonna watch The Witcher.
We talked about this on the Wheel of Time episode. It blows my mind that The Witcher and the Wheel of Time cost the same money per episode. It blows my mind.
I'm gonna get another drink while you guys first start.
You
talking.
need to
All
hear
right,
this. You
that's-
need to
no,
hear
no.
about
I'm
The
gonna
Witcher.
watch it. I'm not.
All
Like,
right.
just
you
gonna
act
make a
like you're
point.
trying to convince me.
All right.
She
I
can
even
get some.
watched some when you watched the first season.
Okay.
I feel like I watched like half of it, kind of on and off when I would kind of like be in the room and half watch and this and
I gotcha. Well, it's
So I'm
confusing. It's the first season
First
is
season's
confusing. I need to
timeline's
rewatch it.
But I mean,
weird.
it's not like I'm like
Yeah.
I don't want to. Like I was just waiting till Christmas and Wheel of Time and everything else was over.
Right.
So.
Well, I certainly take advantage of your own time to watch the show. But if you want to watch it and I'm around, I would love to rewatch the first season because I
Yes.
don't remember what happens.
Okay.
It's very confusing, right?
The timeline is wonky, but I'll tell you what, watching The Witcher after watching Wheel of Time will make you appreciate Witcher so much more. I'm so glad I put this. I'm so glad I put Witcher off for like 2 years. I watched the first episode whenever it came out, probably 2 years ago, and I thought, I don't know, because it's got all the classic trappings of. There's a whole bunch of boobs in it. He kills a whole bunch of dudes. I don't know what's going on. This is like this was meant for CEOs to watch, and they're like, cool, blood and boobs, ship it. Let's
right.
make
It's just
it.
Game of Thrones again. Great.
Right. Cool.
And I
and what's the
don't
deal?
like that stuff.
Will there be more boobs in more episodes? Of course, sir. All right. It's done.
It is
doesn't
not
do
Game
that.
of Thrones. It is
It's
not. It's not.
Although
that.
their breasts and blood abound. Wow. Breasts.
In the first season, for sure.
Yeah. And actually, it's just one woman's breasts that abound. But that's neither here nor there. If you're going to watch either of these shows, watch Wheel of Time first, if you're interested. Then watch The Witcher, and then say thank you. And I hate you for making me watch Wheel of Time. Because The Witcher is so much better. The Witcher, it's great. It's good. It's got all that. It's got like that. You call it Monster of the Week, but like Mandalorian succeeds on the same formula of, yes, there is an overarching plot, but basically he's dealing with things as he comes into them.
It's like
Right,
a
he
problem in episode, right?
It's still
Yeah.
episodic. There
Yeah.
is a overarching story to the season, but it is still episodic.
He walks into a town, so-and-so says, oh, we've got this issue. He's trying to solve the issue inside that episode while also dealing with events from the overarching theme. It's great. It's a solid formula.
How did
He's
you like
good.
that?
Don't
Yeah.
spoil anything.
This isn't a spoiler. I don't think it's not a
I
spoiler.
don't think so.
How
It's
did
a
you
spoiler.
like the Beauty and the Beast of the first episode of season 2?
I'm so glad you asked that. The first episode of season 2 is like I was in a wonderland. It was like,
yeah,
because season 2 just came out, and I hadn't watched most of season 1. I rewatched all of season 1 in like a week and a half, maybe. So an episode a night or something like that. And season 2 was there and waiting for me. Season 2, episode 1. It's like a perfect monster of the week type thing.
Right.
It is. Oh, and it is a better. It's like a cool twist on Beauty and the Beast, sort of.
Yeah.
And whoever does the Beast, and you want to talk about the Beast guy is excellent. You want to talk about like visuals and CGI and makeup. Holy shit. That dude is worth $10 million. If you told me that guy cost $10 million to make the Beast in that episode, I would believe it.
You mean he doesn't look like Loyal from The Wheel of Time?
Oh my God.
Even the Beast from Beauty and the Beast looks bad compared to this dude.
Right. And that's like a Disney, like,
that's like a
all
$200 million movie.
Yeah, that's like you have endless money. Like someone handed a credit card to a producer or director and they were like, go crazy.
And I don't think it's CG. I think it's all...
Like I'm sure they CG'd some of it.
Maybe
they
some
have
of it.
to. Maybe parts, and I mean...
But that's what always makes things better, is when they... Well, not necessarily Loyal.
Well, but you like... No, Loyal's good, because if you're going to...
He's better than a CGI monstrosity.
Yes, but like his face, it's like if I was like, I'm drinking wine, and my hands are like just on each side of the glass smushing it. Like he looks like he can't
To me, that's
physically...
better. I'd rather see a puppet than a CGI monster.
And Loyal's big shoes?
Sometimes.
Have you seen
right?
Loyal's
Maybe
big
I'm
shoes?
exaggerating.
Loyal's, for instance, no, that's a good example. Loyal's height could have been fixed with CGI instead of boots.
I mean...
Yeah, instead of like
you just
5-inch heels that are like obviously...
Yeah.
I didn't play Witcher 1 or 2. I don't think anybody should. I don't think they're very good video games from what I've heard. Witcher 3 is a very good video game if you spend the time to get invested in it. And that means playing probably the first 15 to 20 hours.
I was going to say 10, but it's probably 15 or 20.
Until you really get through the first couple of stories, you become Geralt, and you are sort of like on this adventure as him. And I played a lot. I played all the base game, both expansions. I think I played like 150, 170 hours of that game.
Holy
like tons of that
shit.
game. I really loved it. I think it's my favorite video game of all time. Really.
Wow.
I mean, other than like maybe some shooters we've played with friends that have been more fun.
But that's because you're hanging out with friends, right? That's
Yeah,
yeah,
that doesn't
like single player
count, I feel like.
experiences, it is my favorite.
I remember watching some of that.
Yeah.
And I love Henry Cavill as Geralt so much.
does
I
really
booted up
good.
the video game again, which again I have spent way more time with, and I was like, "Well, this isn't Geralt. Like Henry Cavill's Geralt. Like this is I don't know who this
I
is."
like Henry Cavill's Geralt better than the video game Geralt, and like it's crazy. I don't know, because I couldn't get past that hump, that 10 or 15 hour hump. I've tried multiple times to play this game. He's better in this show, I think.
Yeah, it's just like that is Geralt, and what's interesting is like I didn't see the Mission Impossible with Henry Cavill in it, where he beats up Tom
I need to
Cruise.
watch that.
I want to watch that too.
Boy, you want to talk about facial hair? Have you examined him as closely as I have? He has the stubble.
What does that mean?
It means exactly what you think it means. He's full stubbled out, but with a bushy mustache up top. Who does that? Who goes full mustache but also heavy stubble? God, that man's beautiful.
Right? He's just such a good Geralt. It's like amazing.
He does look like some sort of like CG person. He's
It looks
insanely
like he was made in a lab.
Yeah,
right?
right. If someone was like, so we're going to need this, that like everything looks... Yeah, if you were like, we're going to draw the perfect person kind of scenario.
It's almost, I think it almost hurts him in his professional career.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I think a lot of people that
he couldn't be a normal
Superman.
character.
Right.
Because he was Superman. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You're
Right,
never going to be like, you're Rick from the coffee shop, because everyone would be like, why the hell is he at the coffee
Here's
shop?
the
Like,
thing
What's
about
that 6'5" monster doing serving?
Like-
well, right,
cappuccinos?
exactly.
Yeah.
His options are to either be The Rock, who plays the same character in every movie and is wildly successful for it,
Right.
but he's clearly a good actor. Like his Superman is way different from his Geralt, is way different from his Mission Impossible
but he has
character.
to have characters like that,
But he
sadly.
looks like a freaking sculpture.
Well, he looks like
yeah.
a Greek god model mixed with he's giant and he's like everything about it is he can only play so much.
Anyway, it's hard to talk about The Witcher without spoiling it. It's just so good.
I think you can because it has fun with the monsters.
Yeah.
There is a cool he has a good arc already, right? My big complaint with the video game was that, I mean, by definition, he's an emotionless monster hunter. But in the show, you know,
a little more there.
They put him in situations where, like, if they went full emotionless, nobody would watch it. So he has to bend a little bit, and he has to move with the world. Wherein I felt like in the video game, I was like, well, I'm just a killing machine. Here I go. Don't talk to me.
It was very dry.
Well, and the video game is at the later part of the story. It's much later than the show where the show is at. Witcher 3 is series all grown up.
Yeah. The timeline of season 1 is it's poorly conveyed to the audience. So if you feel confused in season 1, you're right there with everybody else.
Go
right?
with it.
Yeah. Season 2, you'll figure it out. It's suddenly very clear what actually happened in season 1. But you have characters that live for hundreds of years being shown with characters that like are newborns, basically. It's weird.
Oh, that is
confusing. Well, and I think, you know, I liked when there had just been one season of The Witcher. I was like, that was great, but I had some like things to say about it.
Sure.
Now that I've seen 2 seasons, I'm like, oh, this is fantastic.
I got no complaints.
Exactly, because my complaints about the first season were I loved following Geralt and his like misadventures, and then when they would show Yennefer's story and when they were showing Ciri, I was like, I don't care about this. And then
it really comes together.
It all comes together to a point. That's where the first season ends, though. It comes to a point. Then, now that all 3 of them are in the same time and place, season 2 is about their together.
It feels like payoff after payoff after payoff.
Right,
And it's not hard to watch season 1. It's a little confusing sometimes. But season 2 just felt like, oh, man, it was worth it, right? We had to get through season 1, and it's not bad, but boy, and you're like celebrating the stuff in season 1 suddenly makes a lot more sense. There's just a lot going on. That's really good.
Because there's Ciri, Geralt, Yennefer, and what the heck's Dandelion's name? The bard.
Oh,
there's Triss too.
Jaskier.
But mainly, so if Ciri's one of the main characters, but if you're following, how does Ciri get to this point? It's the last, 2 years, right? It's the last, 6 months or whatever. If it's how did Geralt get to this point, it's what's Geralt been up to for the last 50 years? And how did Yennefer get to this point? So it's what's Yennefer been up to for the last, 100 years?
100 years? It's super unclear how they all got there.
Super old mages.
Okay.
Yeah.
So...
It's really good, though. I
am excited that I have, another thing to watch. I like the Wheel of Time finally being man, every week I have, something new. And not just, some random Netflix thing that I'm we'll just kind of have this in the background.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited to actually
do
have
it.
I really want to watch season 1 again.
Ben, you said the same thing as me. As I finished season 2, one night, I watched the last 3 episodes. So, I had to get, okay, we're watching 3 episodes because you just have to keep going.
Uh-huh.
And the next night, I started season 1. I just want to go back and be there. It was cool.
I don't want to leave.
Show.
And then I installed the game.
I did.
Yeah, I reinstalled the game. I was like, what am I going to do? I don't know.
Is there a skin? Can I download a DLC for
That's
Make It
when
Henry?
a book ends and you're kind of sad for a week when when you finish a book and you're like, well, now what? You just kind of
Yeah, the only bad thing about the big reveal at the end of season 2, I was like, well, I already knew that because that's in the video game.
Right.
Okay.
You're getting season 1 and season 2 sort of are it's the cliff notes of the first and second game, I think. Sort of.
Yeah. You're like catching up to where
they are speeding towards the third game, basically as fast as they can, which makes sense. There's some CGI in the second season that was really weird. It's in the last episode. He kills a bunch of dudes, and didn't look good. Anyway.
They had to cut that $10 million budget.
They sacrificed choreography for it being cool looking, right? So instead of Henry Cavill doing a bunch of sword training, it's just a bunch of jump cuts and blood.
I gotcha.
And it was
which is a lot different from like the scene where they get attacked in that temple.
Hey,
yes.
Whoa, you watch it.
When those guys attack him in that temple, like it's 5-on-1 or whatever, that's a cool scene.
Awesome. There's a lot of...
How tall is he in real life? Like, he's
6'3", I think.
Big guy normally?
Not that I keep a list of actors
checked recently.
Yeah. He's got to be 6'3".
All right. Well,
he's 6'1".
It's good. Go watch it. It's on Netflix.
It's worth
highly
watching.
recommend it. Watch Wheel of Time if you're curious. Watch that first.
Sure.
Because then you'll be ready for anything better than that. Like, and we came out of
Affleck is 6'4".
What?
Whoa.
That's a big dude.
So Batman is taller than Superman. That doesn't make any sense.
Hold up. I just don't picture him as 6'4".
No.
Like maybe 6 feet is what I kind of.
My favorite comic book scene. I don't read comic books. I've read a couple, but one of my favorite comic book scenes ever was from Crisis on Infinite Worlds, the second one. There was 2 Crisis on Infinite Worlds, one that was like in the 80s and 90s, and one that was like more recent. And it's a comic book. It's the Blue Beetle. Who cares about the Blue Beetle, right? He's like a knockoff Batman, but he goes to he gets called to like a scene of a crime, right? He's like gonna go like solve some sort of small town crime or whatever, and for whatever reason, Superman already took care of it, and it's from the point of view of the Blue Beetle, who's like some like vigilante, knockoff Batman guy with a beetle costume on, and Superman is there talking to him, and the whole time Superman never touches the ground.
Right,
he just floats in front of him and looks down at him.
Move. Yeah.
And he's like so big and broad the way it's drawn. It's so cool. And like, how would Superman be to a person who's
not
super powerful? And he's just like, no worries, I already took care of the problem. And he's like the whole frame of the comic, I always love that scene.
So when you meet Henry Cavill,
right,
he'll be floating around.
All right. Speaking of Henry Cavill. No, speaking of not trying to give spoilers and superheroes.
Yeah, you can't.
How are we going to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home?
I feel like you need to say just yes or no. Would you recommend no spoilers for the new Spider-Man?
I know I can do it. Can you do it?
Yeah, can Ben do it?
I'll say one thing. I will say one thing. I already said this to Ken yesterday.
It's a spoiler.
Of the 3 Sony Spider-Man Tom Holland movies, each one is better than the one before it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I'll take it.
And this, I would say that they continually get better.
I thought it got better. I liked it.
Yeah.
The only thing that makes me sad is knowing, just the whole, when you hear, in the news, Sony, will they make a new one? Will they not? This or that. And Marvel,
and it's a trilogy. That's how they sign them.
Yeah, Marvel,
and that sort of thing.
Starting over. The only thing that during, while watching it, I want to be well, I don't want,
he's still not Spider-Man yet. He's still not.
He's just getting
He's almost there.
I thought in the last Spider-Man movie, he was finally, kind of being I am Spider-Man. I'm taking over for Iron Man kind of thing.
I also love the second one.
So I thought he would be more of that character. This one was still great. It's not that he's not that.
Yeah, it's good.
But I just was hoping to have a legit, just how Captain America and all the others have their movie. It seems like the Spider-Man movies are always kind of I don't know, it's like a side story about him. It's not like him being Spider-Man or him being
Yeah,
it's like
He's like still on his way
true of all
there.
of
It's
them.
like
Yeah.
character development over an entire trilogy, and he's
it's
yet
a
to
long
become.
Yeah.
walk. Yeah,
I will say this: I really enjoyed this movie.
it's a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
I
I
did
would
like
probably
it, though.
rewatch
I'd see
the
it again.
second one before I'd rewatch this one.
Really?
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Not necessarily.
Do you? Let me ask you guys this: do you have to watch the other
Don't say it.
Sony Spider-Man franchises to enjoy this movie? No, it's in the trailers that Doc
That's
Ock
true.
and that
That's
stuff
true.
from the old movies shows
No,
up.
you don't
That's
have
true.
to though, because
No.
like our
They
kids watched
explain.
it.
There's
and
multiverse
they didn't,
stuff going
They didn't
on.
know, and they still
Yeah,
And
right.
Liv still
they
liked it.
explain how they
They
got
do
there
explain all that. Yeah.
in a neat enough way
Mm-hmm.
that you don't need to see those movies.
If you have seen them, great, but no, you don't have to.
I like this movie. Had a lot of fun. I think it's a little overhyped. I just want to manage people.
Yeah.
If you haven't
I will
seen
agree
it,
that.
Yeah,
I
agree.
just want you to manage expectations. I don't get the hype, like, because this is their most successful Marvel movie ever.
Uh-huh.
All movies.
That's crazy because
And I just
will
don't
admit
see it.
that after
Maybe he's just that big of a.
I think
maybe
Spider-Man's
people just-
that popular.
I think
He's
they
my
just like
favorite.
him.
I love
Okay.
Spider-Man.
That's fair. Yeah.
yeah, and
He's my favorite. That's why I've almost bought a PlayStation 4 and 5 to play Spider-Man
To play.
video games.
That's why I bought it. I'm
do
waiting
feel
for
like after we watched
Spider-Man
this,
2 to come out.
I enjoyed it like more and more, kind of thinking about it. Where I would
Yeah.
now probably rewatch it to be like, let me kind of double check what I saw. But
If you take the Tom Holland trilogy, it's a pretty solid trilogy in
Yeah.
terms of him being Spider-Man. Right?
It's certainly better than like
like
like,
Iron
'cause-
Man or Thor or they all or Captain. They
Yeah.
all have their
Yeah.
misses or their
Yeah.
there's no
sort
misses in this. There's no misses.
no, I like
Not
them all.
really.
I like Tom
No.
Holland as Spider-Man, so that's why I'm kind of sad to be like, well, now he's done. And I want to be like, well,
well,
he just got good. Like,
Yeah.
I think he got too mixed up in being an Avenger, and
Yeah.
it hurt his character. And now he's finally broken free of that.
right? He like started,
And
when
so
it was
now
like,
I
we
want to
have-
watch more Spider-Man movies. I want to see
Yes.
more Spider-Man movies
Yeah.
post Avengers.
I wish
give me
it
that.
wasn't he had to go fight Thanos, because
Yeah.
now what are you going to be like?
There was
Hey, there's
there was-
a robber around the
Right.
corner. Like,
And
well,
again-
I was in space. I was, like
Right.
The
you
stakes
can't
were
bring
too
it back
high
down.
for the friendly
Yeah.
neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we've actually done really well avoiding spoilers, but like he was in Iron Man's shadow forever and he was doing
Yeah.
the Avengers stuff and I'll tell you what though, Tommy Holland and Zendaya are acting their little hearts out. Like
Right?
there's
Yeah.
emotional stuff in this movie that is fantastic.
Yeah, it
I
is really
think-
good.
Fresh
They're great.
back from the sands of Dune.
Yeah.
So,
Looking, feeling
She still
fresh.
has some spice in her eyes.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's not spoilers. This movie ultimately is great because it's about Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
yeah. I agree.
Yes. Yes.
It succeeds because it focuses on him
right.
and becoming Spider-Man.
Let me ask you this. Without having had a second Doctor Strange movie, how do you feel about how Doctor Strange is portrayed
Oh my
in this
gosh,
movie?
can we lock that guy up? Is he drunk? Was he
Yeah.
drunk this whole
Doctor
movie?
Strange is in this movie.
He's
But
off
then
Like
I-
the
people
rails.
know
I
that,
don't
right?
know. I feel like I also heard things where
No, he's in the trailers.
yeah, he's in the trailers.
He's in the trailers. I'm not going crazy
but
here.
I
I'm
just
just
mean,
asking,
like-
what do you think about how
He's
Doctor
off
Strange?
the reservation. Lock him up.
Yeah, all
What
of a
is
sudden
he
you're like,
doing?
what do you?
Me?
I don't know.
I'm off the reservation.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, Doctor Strange. I thought you were like saying I'm like giving spoilers
No,
here.
no.
No, Doctor Strange
No, Doctor Strange is like a
needs to be
psychopath in this.
locked up.
Yeah,
Not
like
because
what
he,
is he
like,
doing?
wasn't, like-
Where the whole
I don't know
at
what's
the end,
happening.
At the end
And
of the
the-
movie,
so-
I want to be like,
And that's where I think the movie kind of falls apart.
He's
because
got too much power.
in order to do what they do to make it exciting, they have to play really fast and loose with like Doctor Strange
Way
and how
too
they would
loose.
do things and like.
I feel like he really gets the shaft here. Like I felt like
Which I don't know. Is that them trying to set up something else? Though?
Right.
because I like Doctor Strange.
They released the
until he
trailer
became
for
an
Doctor
idiot.
Strange 2 a week after this movie came out, which is essentially
they?
him paying the price for this movie.
Yeah,
Well,
So-
he better.
They're setting him up as like a fall from grace, which is cool. I like that because he's super overpowered. You know, you have to do
Yeah,
something
I
to
just
make
like-
him.
Kind of arrogant.
Well, and you got to
Kinda,
create
yeah.
either an internal conflict or some sort of event where, like, well, we don't trust him anymore, or we don't. There has to be something, right?
Right,
They're going
'cause
to do the
otherwise
same thing with.
he could have endless power. So
Right.
and you have to like put a stop on it somewhere.
You got to do
and
something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, well, here's 90 minutes of Doctor Strange fighting a CGI monster in space, and it's Doctor
Yeah.
Strange 3, and nobody cares.
Yeah,
So
who cares about that, right? It is
So you
much more
have to-
interesting to be like, what if you're a wizard? Like, what do you do
and
with that?
you know,
Well, they
like,
kind of set
they-
up for more things at the end of Spider-Man stuff too, right?
Little
like
bit.
for
They did it
related
with
to Doctor Strange, like little hints here and there
Yep.
where you're like, hold on, something's going to happen there. So
But the
Yeah.
whole time I am like, why are you agreeing to this?
yeah,
Like,
his
why,
his
what are you
actions
doing?
specifically don't make any sense.
They don't.
part of it too
Yeah.
is as a parent, I want to be like, stop listening to a stupid kid. Like this, I don't know.
Yeah,
like
it-
a teenager comes to you,
Like, what
Go
are you
away.
doing? Like,
Like-
you're Sherlock. What are you doing?
you're Sherlock.
yeah,
You're just mad at the actual person, the actor.
That his name
not-
gets to be Benedict and mine's Benjamin.
That's why you're angry.
wait, who's angry about that? Emily or Ben?
Ben's angry about that.
Benedict?
Benedict. That's a cool
Do you
name.
want me to
It's
call
a
you
cooler
Benedict?
version of Ben.
No, it's
Benedict.
not. It's a dorkier version.
Oh, wait, so
I can't
Spider-Man's good
believe-
though.
I can't believe we didn't spoil anything right there.
I don't think we did.
don't
would
think
love
we
to.
No,
did
we
either.
didn't. No,
I'd love
stop.
to.
We need to stop Ben now.
We could talk about the Lighthouse again. You get a little taste of that in this
Yeah.
movie.
That's a
God.
come on.
Too much. Wow, you're really pushing it now.
Yeah, knock it off. Now you gotta.
Sorry.
Okay. We
I'll
did
be right
watch
back.
the newest Jim Gaffigan Netflix special, which was it like an hour? I don't know.
Yeah, it was an hour special.
It was good. I don't know. It's comedy. Comedy's good.
I liked it. I was laughing.
Yeah, you were like losing it.
He was making fun of marching bands and bikers. I
He
was
made fun
feeling
of bikers
personally
and
attacked.
Ben was like, I don't like this.
I don't like
for
this.
That part.
He's like pretending he's got cleats on in a Starbucks walking around,
You
and I
do
was
look
like,
stupid when you do that. It's like you have heels in the front of your feet. You look stupid.
well, what are you supposed to do? And he's like, do you really need to be like clipped in like that? Maybe I
And
do.
Ben, yes, I do. I hate even walking our own basement like that. Just over to the Peloton, I feel like an idiot. Right then, I kind of hate myself. Just being like, clip, clap, clip. Oh, shoot. Did you just do that?
Did I unplug you?
You, like, undid everything I had hooked up for my microphone.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
What were you doing?
It was on the floor. I rolled my foot over it.
Please stop. But that's all for watching. I watched some random crap, but nothing that I'm like, you gotta
Nothing worth
see
talking
this.
about?
Nah. The
bunch
one
of junk.
Netflix thing I just watched was pretty good, but I don't remember what it was called, and so
Oh, is
Yeah,
it
there we go.
Noble Ape
nope.
Noble Ape.
with Jim
What?
Gaffigan?
Was that his newest comedy
Is
special?
that what it was?
Yeah. What'd you watch
Okay.
on Netflix with
I
Jim
don't think that's
Gaffigan?
what it was
It was funny.
called.
No, that we watched his newest comedy special on Netflix.
It's called Noble Ape.
Is it?
Sure, I believe you. I don't know. It was good. I laughed. I laughed.
I
a
need
lot.
to watch it because I like him. He's pretty good.
Yeah, it was funny. It was good. All right, we put it off last episode, and now we can finally talk about it.
No, I
It's
think it
video
was-
game season, guys.
It was called Comedy Monster. I
Oh,
think.
Comedy Monster.
That means he must
okay.
have another one somewhere else because I've
Oh,
seen
watch
Noble
out,
Ape.
too.
Huh.
Okay.
Video games.
I don't
All
know,
right.
it's good.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Let's talk about some video games.
Okie dokie. Oh wait, so Do you guys want to talk about the stuff you've been playing first, or do you want to talk about the It Takes Two a little more?
Tell me about It Takes Two, because I need to convince Megan to play with me.
No, you don't.
So we tried it one more time. So we played for a while, and the other day I was like, let's just try again. And we had it on for probably 5 minutes, and we both were like, I can't take this anymore, and we turned it off. When we played the other day over break or whatever, and I think I posted on Instagram, hey, we're playing. I got so many messages about how much people love this game.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh, it's so great. It looks beautiful. I love it. It's so much fun. And the whole time I'm thinking, I hate this game.
Oh, no.
So maybe we're just like I don't know. But I can't stand the theme, which is two parents that should be divorced that are that like a fake magic love book is trying to get back together.
Sure.
It's stupid. And the whole time they're bickering, and it's like, you shouldn't get back together. It's just them yelling at each other during every puzzle. I don't understand why that's a theme. And I also hate her just being like, Cody, the whole time. In like a British, oh my gosh, I hate it so much. But the puzzles are, once you figure out the puzzle, you're like, oh, I get what we have to do in this one. You know, you need to fly from brick to brick, whatever. But then it goes on like 30 minutes longer than it needs to be. Where you're like, we've done this like 50 times. Oh, the next puzzle's that, but you add in a nail. Like, it's just, it reminds me of, like you said, old PlayStation games where you're like, yeah, I get it. I get the puzzle. We don't need to repeat it 100 times. It reminds me of like
playing Toy Story on PlayStation 1.
That's what it's like. Where it's like, yeah, I get what we need to do here, but I don't need to do it so many times.
Like it's very easy, and once you figure out a puzzle, see, like a fun game. Let's think about like Trine, right, or Chariot, right? These games that are hard two-player games.
Yeah,
Chariot's one where you're two people are sort of like.
You have to like pull a little.
Where you're pulling this
around.
like chariot through these like dungeon puzzles. It's kind of a platformer thing, 2-player. That game's very good. Play that game.
Yeah.
This is it takes you about 30 seconds to figure out the puzzle and then 20 minutes to execute the solution. Instead of like it takes 5 minutes to figure out the solution and then a minute to execute it. Where you're like, oh, now I feel clever because we figured it out. It's like, oh, I see what we need to do here. We need to move this to here and this, and then you need to do this, and I need to do this.
Like
and then it takes like 15 minutes to do that. And none of it's hard. And you're like, I don't understand why this game's so highly regarded.
I don't know.
I think at the Game Awards, it won Best Family Game.
I've seen a lot of people. Very popular, yeah.
It is not fun. It's like simple and boring. It's like playing an old PlayStation 1 game. That's what this is like.
Maybe that's why people like it, though. I mean, maybe that's...
Maybe. But I just... Man, this because the story sucks.
The story sucks, and like little things in the story that are happening are just kind of weird. Which I don't know. Like, am I spoiling the game if I say parts?
No.
No. They're trying to like, so their daughter essentially like cursed them into little dolls because they were gonna, like,
a witch.
Separate.
Yep.
She
used her spell book, which is a Mexican spell book.
Like a Mexican love book, which is like why I don't know.
Nice. Nice.
Also, I don't know. Like he changes the accent every 10 seconds. Mexican, Italian. I'm not Spanish. I'm not quite sure what.
Curly mustache.
He's just kind of like all around the world, but
like a Simpsons kid.
Oh God.
Even the audio.
You guys
are
like sweating with stress talking about this.
The audio reminds me of playing those, like renting a game from the. There was the grocery store that my parents used to go to. It had a game rental.
Yeah, you could like run over to do that. Quick.
Connected to the grocery store. These little tiny circles that would Velcro to the games, and they're like these little pins, and you'd bring them to the front, and then they'd give you the actual game. They were just like they were like Velcroed to the box.
Yeah.
And then my whole time my mom was grocery shopping, I would go to the rental thing that's connected to it.
Pick out your game.
And pick out my game. And it just reminds me of that. It reminds me of those games. Like it's just like old 3D platformers that are like
I mean,
like
no, but like
kids.
I think a lot of people want that, though. I think a lot of people want that.
One of the things is they're like, if she cries, maybe she'll turn us back into like people.
Right, make her cry.
They're trying to take her favorite toy and essentially like murder her favorite toy.
Cool.
Like, it's weird stuff like that, though, where I'm like, this is getting awkward. Like, it's just, I don't know.
Weird.
I'd rather play that game with those two guys who escaped prison.
I know, like this one, the elephant is like screaming and they're trying to like take its batteries out.
I'd rather play A Way Out.
That game sucked too.
Yeah, but it's better than this one.
That game was like, I'm not doing anything. It's telling me what to do.
Oh, okay.
It was like Uncharted, but 2 players.
It was like press A, and you're like, okay.
Like a lot of like QuickTime events.
Cutscenes
Now press
and shit.
B. Yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
Well, we tried this.
Yeah.
Meg can't play. I've come to the conclusion Meg can't play 3D games. She gets sick.
Oh, no.
You need a 2D.
Yeah, we lasted
play
like
Chariot.
5 minutes. Yeah,
Chariot is 2D.
Or play
is...
Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time.
Yeah, those are
2D.
good ones.
She would do well at that, actually.
Yeah.
I think. Okay.
Which I understand. I'm also not.
You got to play Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time long enough to unlock the second ship, the Banana Split, which is a lot easier to move around in. Except there are places that only certain players can go. So.
See, the problem is I hate 2D shit. I hate it.
Oh no.
Well, there you go.
Gonna have to get turned into clay dolls.
You could probably play Trine.
Yeah, we could
Trine
play
is like 3D models.
2D side scroller. We could do.
Yeah.
There you go.
2D, 3D. Yeah. We could
Trine
do that.
4 is
I
not
have
bad.
Trine.
That one
somewhere.
did start to get like really tricky.
Trine 4 is hard.
We were like, I don't.
Yeah, those games are hard.
Yeah.
All that stuff's way more
though.
satisfying than this. Like way more satisfying when you solve it. Then this is just like, I know what to do.
Yeah, well that's because you played too many video games.
I
don't know if this is for you.
You're right, maybe, right?
You're
like
not the target
if
audience.
we spend our time playing Outriders or Borderlands, we're probably not supposed to be playing this, I guess.
I don't know. It's them being like, I divorced you because you didn't clean the vacuum. And you're like, well, that's... Why? I don't know.
That's dumb.
The whole thing was like, well, you didn't fix a birdhouse. That's why we're in this situation. You're like, is this why the
yes, the birdhouse, which if we don't fix, we won't be able to go about our daily lives.
Yeah. It's just stupid bickering during the whole game. I'm like, can they shut up for 10 seconds? So I don't know.
Well, what about you, Ken? You've been playing. You said you've been playing every day. What have you been playing?
Baby. So one of the younglings got the new Pokemon game, which I don't recommend unless you're a Pokemon head, because all Pokemon games are identical and they have never changed the formula for 25 years. And then what did we play? What was that?
That's staying in. So
whoa!
That's Ken's kitchen.
Did you guys hear that? We got a PS5 a while ago, and we've been jamming it.
How could I not hear that?
It comes with a game called Astro's Playground, which is like a Mario 3D platformer, and all you're doing is goofing around to get completionist stuff, like get the puzzle pieces, get the coins, get the this, get the that. The kids love it. Super fun game. Super duper fun.
I feel like they don't get all the jokes though about the old PlayStation games.
That doesn't matter.
No, because what you're doing is you're running through and getting, they call them artifacts, and it's like, it's the PS1, and here's the first DualShock controller, and here's an 8 megabyte memory card, when the 5-year-old gets it, I was like, cool! And they're like, what is this?
Yeah. I remember when my Final Fantasy VIII save corrupted, and my cousin was laughing at me, and I started stomping on him.
In the face.
Oh, I would beat the shit out of somebody if I lost a save.
He was like laughing at me because I was so pissed, and so I started stomping on him.
I like laughing
and you started stomping on him like you were some sort of giant. But
I just remember him being pressed against. He was like against, like the place between the underneath the bed and against the bed frame, and he was like ha, 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 laughing at me like Gollum, and I was like kicking him because he wouldn't stop.
Do we wonder why our children are
Jeez Louise.
like?
We had that's weird because we had a memory card with Laura Croft on it, and she had some. She had
triangular assets.
No, these were. They were.
Oh, it was a drawing of Laura Croft.
Yeah, it was a rendition.
Because I remember going to my friend Jordan's house to play the first Tomb Raider on his PC.
Oh yeah,
and we couldn't get past the tutorial level, so
because you couldn't control yourselves.
We didn't know how to play. We were kids.
So we were. That game's cool. Played. What else did we play? I bought Avengers, which is the much maligned, poorly reviewed. It's kind of an online game, but it has an okay single player game.
Okay.
It came out. You're talking about the Square Enix big budget Avengers that was supposed to be like a
big deal. Came out maybe a year ago, and it just feels like a knockoff of like one of the movies. Everything about it feels like B tier compared to most Avengers stuff. But for $9 is fine. Was playing Spider-Man Miles Morales, which in stark comparison, no pun intended, is super great. Super fun. It's a follow-up to the original Spider-Man game, which is like immaculate. But they're so close to each other, I don't know if you need both. Just pick one or the other.
Yeah.
Insomniac, right?
Yeah, they did all those. What's it called? Second Son, and they make really. Games? I think did they make Crash Bandicoot?
Sly Cooper. No, they made Sly Cooper.
That's what it is.
Those games were good too.
Yeah, they make really, really, really good games. But the standout has been Guardians of the Galaxy of all things, which is no joke, fantastic game. Single player experience. You're Star-Lord, and it's exactly what you would think from a Guardians of the Galaxy game. They're up to no good. It's genuinely funny, which is super hard to do in a game. Like, I laughed at cutscenes. Like, laughed.
That's pretty good.
Not just breathe out of your nose, right? Not just nodding along with it. It's genuinely funny. The combat's a bit sloppy, but because you're Star-Lord, like his melee attack is him like trying to kick like a soccer ball. Like he's clumsy about it, right?
That's pretty good.
You're doing more dodging and commanding the other 4 Guardians to help you win combat situations than anything else. And
so are you only ever Star-Lord?
I think you're only ever Star-Lord.
Okay.
Because you command Rocket and Groot and Drax and Gamora.
It's like Republic Commando.
Or
that's an old game.
Yeah, it has some, and it has like decision trees in it, right? Like Rocket and Drax get in an argument, and you have to pick one, and it says, okay, well, you're +2 with Rocket, and you're -1 with Drax, or whatever, or you owe money. So there's sort of like RPG elements to it, which is kind of cool and fun. I don't know if it's on PC or anything else, but I think it might be. And it has an officially licensed soundtrack. So it's like, you're shooting guys to like AC/DC or whatever it is. Yeah, real music. It's like genuinely awesome.
That's cool.
Get it and play it.
I've been playing Halo Infinite. Now, I never had an Xbox. I never played any Halo games. I have not played the campaign of any Halo games or any Halo multiplayer before, which is kind of weird. Yeah, I say that to a lot of people. They're like, "What? How could you?"
I've never played them either. Yeah,
I've never played a Pokemon game either.
I've never had an Xbox. Yeah,
I always had a PC and a PlayStation, so I never played Pokemon and I never played Halo. Sue me. But I have Xbox Game Pass on PC, and Halo Infinite is on there for free, and you can play it. It's a new game, and I heard the campaign is good, so I started it up. And I have been playing it on one difficulty level up from the normal, so it's on Heroic, I think. And first of all, it's very hard on Heroic. I find it pretty tough. Like, I die a lot. But it's been a ton of fun. I really...
Cool.
really enjoying it. I play on controller. I'm assuming that's the way it's meant to be played because it's primarily a console game.
I suppose, yeah.
So I've been doing controller and just playing the single player campaign. It's been pretty good. I don't get a lot of the references. I had to go like Wikipedia
right,
some of the characters because
fan service for a different crowd.
There's been like 7 campaigns before this or something like that. I think there's 5. This is the 6th Halo, I believe.
Really?
But there's also ODST and like Reach and stuff. So there's like other stories. But yeah, it's been fun. The only thing that made me put it down actually was I was kind of itching for because it having not played the other ones, it's like not everything's landing. Like I'm not into the story that much.
Right.
And I wanted kind of a third-person action game, and I played a lot of Assassin's Creed Valhalla after having played a lot of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, after having played a lot of The Witcher 3. And I just kind of like, well, maybe I'll try something different. So Sony is starting to put their first-party games on PC too, and Horizon Zero Dawn is one of the first ones of those.
It's been on the Steam for a long time.
It has, but I think the first port was pretty...
I have it, and it was pretty rough around the edges.
Yeah, so they've cleaned that up quite a bit. It runs good now. I bought it in the most recent Steam sale.
It played like you were on a PlayStation 4 or whatever. It's like 30 frames a second. It just didn't... It wasn't using my computer.
I gotcha. So all that's gone. Now it runs great. And it looks... You could turn it... You can crank it up. And it runs really good.
I should try again.
Fighting dinosaur robots. I'm not very far into it, but I think I'm going to keep playing that, and maybe I'll come back to Halo later. I mean, Halo's on Game Pass. Like, I would rather play Halo co-op, but the co-op campaign's not until like March or something like that.
That's weird, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't.
Should
is
I get
Zero
Halo?
Dawn good though? Should you get Halo? Nah. I don't know. Try it.
Maybe
you like
Game
it.
Pass. I'm not going to pay for it. I have Zero Dawn, and I've tried it twice, and it just didn't land with me.
It starts off so slow.
That's the thing. Some of these games have these tutorial portions that are like, it's like you've never played a game before, right? And you're like tracking a dude, and it's like, all you got to do is show me which button is crouch. You don't have to like lead me on a crouch mission for 3.5 minutes.
Right.
Just for me to meet up with the guy telling me about the crouch mission, right? It's like, in that game in particular, he's like, crouch and follow this goose. And that's it. And you follow it up the trail.
Oh my gosh.
And you meet him. And then it's a cutscene. And now I'm going to show you how to scan. And you got to scan 5 geese again. And it's like, I get it. I've played games before.
There's a lot of missions that are like, sneak around, scan these robots, show you their tracks. This is how you trick them. And then when you go to play, you're like, I'm just going to level up my strength and power, and I'm just going to ignore all that.
Right. Yeah. Like, I want to put, particularly in that game where you're supposed to be sort of afraid of the environment and the enemies, like, strip away a lot of that stuff, and the effect of being afraid and feeling alone there is much more effective. If they got rid of this sort of tutorial section and just showed you the controls or ran you through it real quick, and it's like drop you into a field. Well, shit, now I got to survive.
Any of this sounding up your alley, Em?
Nothing.
No.
I don't know.
We could get back into Outriders. We got a lot of Gloomhaven to play first.
You guys would really... I don't want to say really. I feel like you could play Guardians together, Guardians of the Galaxy together, and genuinely have a good time.
Oh, really?
Just watching
Does it have a co-op?
No, I wish it did. But it's like playing the movie. Like, it's funny and fun, and
I'll have to check it out.
Nice.
Just look at it. Just read some reviews.
Well, one other thing I want to touch on, and we talked about it a little bit earlier, was Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
So we had, for the first time since pre-COVID, we had a LAN party at Ryan Quinn's house, and I think there was at one point like 12 people there. Anyway, sometime during the night, we finally got everybody to agree to play Rainbow Six Siege. Now, this is a game that came out in 2015, and Ken, you and I and some of our friends, we played that back then.
Back then, yeah.
Back then when it came out.
Back
And it
in
was
the day.
fun. And
It was
then
good.
we quickly got outskilled, and
Somehow
we
it became niche very fast.
very
It wasn't.
fast.
It was too hard to be mainstream,
Yeah.
and it just sort of, there were people that clicked with it, and those people stuck to it, and all of a sudden you just couldn't play the game anymore.
Right. This
People
game
were
went
too good.
it like didn't hit super hard at first and got really small, and then they kind of went free to play for a little while where you would buy battle passes, and it got really big, and then it got kind of esporty, and then people got super good at it, then it got small again, and now it's sort of this like a very competitive scene of very good players. Well, with the nice thing about the LAN is we had enough people who didn't know how to play a private match. We could play if we played 4-on-4.
Oh, okay.
And then after that, we wanted more. We wanted more. So we actually have 2 times now since then gotten online on Discord, 5 versus 5, of all friends from different places and whatever, different groups coming together.
Multiple time zones, yeah.
To play private matches of Rainbow Six Siege. Now, it's been so fun. It has been so fun. It's a game where you like play these quick matches where somebody's defending something, maybe there's a bomb or whatever, and somebody's attacking, and there's a lot of like destructible terrain, so you're like reinforcing walls as the defenders, and as the attackers you're breaching walls and trying to sneak up, break through the floor to try to get at them and disarm the bomb or steal the hostage, and then you accidentally kill the hostage because you threw a grenade on them, and like it's
good
super
fun.
duper fun. And what's fun about it is like playing with friends. Like that's what's fun about it.
Well, and we're all relatively same skill level, right? So you're not getting, we don't have the knowledge of the maps, which is a huge part of that game.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you call it stale, but people who are good at that game are good because of experience. They know the maps inside out. They've been playing them for 7 years now, basically. And I don't know if they've added many maps.
Right.
But
it's
so fun.
It is. It's been super fun. My only complaint is that we started doing this right at the same time the new Warzone map came out, and now we're going to be a month behind on all the new Warzone
They'll
stuff.
just get rid of it after 2 months. We'll probably just cruise right over it. It'll be a new map in 3 months.
No, they do it. They only do a new map like every 2 years. We're going to have to like catch up to speed on this.
Oh, that's all right.
Well, right.
We'll figure it out.
All right. Any other video games? Any other video game stuff?
No, I didn't know if you want to mention Pedals and Wheels, but
Well, I did get the kids
I guess Pedals and Wheel.
Logitech G29 and a wheel stand and stuff for Christmas, and it's been a big hit for sure. I haven't played around with it too much because Forza 5's been my big game, and I think you're faster on controller than you are on wheel. in
Really?
Forza.
Wow.
It's kind of lame, though.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
Well, again, it's an Xbox game, right? It's built for console.
Yeah,
it has a lot of like when you push the stick over, there's like a it doesn't just like turn the wheels all the way to the right. It has a sensitivity to it. So it's like built to be you can be very fast with the controller. What I want to do is take the wheel and play like Dirt 2 or Dirt Rally 2 and play like Assetto Corso and play some of these other games that are like sim racers that you can only play with a wheel.
Right.
And see how that is.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
It's fun, though. The kids like it. I mean, they're going insane. Like, Calvin's like taking out whole villages, but he likes
Calvin
it.
is so bad at driving. Like,
Doesn't
he'll drive
matter.
like the fastest. He'll get like
Well, he never presses a brake. It's
Right.
pedal to
Gas.
the metal, and he's just flying over mountains and hitting and he's like, "You seeing this?" Like he's so cocky too. And
He like gets in a Bugatti, the W16 quad turbo, floor 1500 horsepower,
he's
floors
like
it.
taking out a farm, and he's just like, "Whoa, here's the road," and you're like, "You just happened to come upon after going over 18."
No, he intended it. Just took 18 miles of bush to get there.
Exactly.
No, they've been having a ton of fun with it. I want to play more Forza. That's another group game that's been just so good. So good. We just need to play more games. We need to play more games.
Yeah.
Do you have a Would You Rather for the end of the night?
I do have a Would You Rather.
I gotta
Do you
find
want to go
first?
first? Yeah, you go first. I had to bring up mine. Where is mine now?
Let's see here.
Oh, here's
I
mine.
wrote some down. Would you rather be loyal from the...
God.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Would you rather watch The Witcher or The Wheel of Time? No.
Every time.
Sure. Yeah.
Would you
Oh, these are awful.
rather have more money
Okay.
or more time
More time.
Like in life or in the day or
in
what?
the day? Would you rather have extra time each day or a little bit extra money?
How much money we talking?
in a day. Yeah,
And
give me
how
a
much
give
extra
me
time?
make it an equal
Like-
percent, like 10% money and 10% time.
Do you have an extra 2 hours every day, or you have an extra 50% more money than you have now?
Whoa.
Whoa, hold on. No, that doesn't make sense. I feel like.
That makes it tough to decide.
Is it 1 day only?
No, every day you have 2 extra hours.
It's a lot of money.
You can use it to sleep more, to work out more, to do whatever more, or you have 50% more money.
I'm very much a time guy, but that's a lot of money.
I'm time, but I feel like having that much more money could just save me the time during the day.
And I don't need
Though I
hours
don't
in
know
a
if
day,
that's-
right? I need years. No, seriously. Like,
I know
what am I
you
going to do
know,
with 2
yeah.
hours? Like 2 hours a day, you'll piss away so fast you wouldn't even notice they
It
were
would be
there.
like sleeping, right? Like I just
Yeah.
sleep through it.
Okay, 20 minutes for sleep. My lunch is a little longer. Sit on the toilet a little longer. Workouts a
But
little
now the
longer.
2 hours are gone.
Right.
Yeah. But if I have
You
the
would-
money, it's like maybe we can do something really fun, even if we have the normal day or
Well,
like.
and I'm
don't
gonna
know.
spend the 26 hours one way or another. Whereas the 50% more money, you don't have to do anything with.
Yeah,
Right?
I think
I
I'd
just
put
get
money.
it. I think I have to take the money as much as I don't like that answer.
Because I feel like then it's like we could go on a big trip or you could do things
It's a
with
lot
the
of
money
money.
that even if I have that time, if I don't have the money, it's just me probably wasting that time.
All right, now I know how much more money I need to make.
So if you could do the 50%, if you could
Let
jot
me just
that
write
down.
this down just a moment here. Hold on a second. All right. Well, that's my would you rather.
Okay, I did.
That was
Would you
good.
rather be in jail for 5 years or be in a coma for a decade?
Ugh.
This sucks.
Yeah, they both suck. It's definitely.
The thing is, like, I don't want to go to jail,
Right.
but I don't want
That's
to
all.
I just don't want to lose 10 years. Like, could
It's
you imagine
kinda-
if you just woke up tomorrow and somebody was like, "Oh yeah, now you're 45."
Yeah.
And I'll be like, "What?"
But would you want
I would
to
have at
have
least
those,
rather
like-
spent those. You know how much you can work out in jail?
Oh God. It's a
I don't-
hardcore prison
Read
that you
books?
don't want to be in. You're also gonna do things you don't want to do in those 5 years. How
I
about
can't
that?
imagine anything that happens in a prison I wouldn't want to
Yeah.
do.
What are you talking about?
I can imagine a couple of things.
I don't know what you mean.
Well, if you watch
I
a couple of
just-
shows I watch,
I don't, I can't just like,
I guess
you're
I would
essentially
take, I would
asking,
take the
do you want to
jail.
just, would you give up 10 years of your life to not go to jail for 5 years? I wouldn't.
I guess I would go to jail.
I guess
I
I'd
guess
do
I'd
jail
go to
too.
jail.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Well, especially ironically, we all just agreed that we'd rather get the more money over time. Now it's like,
know,
no,
we
I'm
sound
gonna want
like-
that time back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got all that money.
Ah,
Yeah.
Shit. Now I'm stuck in jail.
All right.
Okay, Ken.
Maybe
I
I
had-
take the time instead of the money.
I had one, but I just came up with a much better one. If real life was the film The Lighthouse, would you rather be Robert Pattinson or Willem Dafoe?
Oh man.
I don't even.
For anybody who hasn't seen this
Remember
movie, the
that-
question is, would you rather be the
This is pretty obscure.
insane control freak
Commander.
Yeah,
Yeah.
insane commander.
or the
Insane, rebellious.
rebellious, but like you're not quite sure.
You're not
if
quite
you're
sure
insane.
what's going on.
You can't tell how much time is passing. You can't tell if you're being taken advantage of or not.
I don't think Willem
But
Dafoe
you're not
knew any
insane.
of those things either. I don't think
Yeah,
he
but
had.
he didn't need to know.
No, but he's like
Right.
crazy. So
didn't
He's
care.
insane
doesn't care.
and comfortable with it.
like, here's the thing: how much time has actually passed on that island?
Could be years, could be
You don't know.
days.
You don't
Nobody
know if you don't know if it's
God, I
15
love that
days
movie.
or 15
I genuinely
years.
love that movie. I'm so glad we watched it. I
I'm
think that's
really
a
happy you made
fantastic
me watch
movie.
that.
I think it's
so
fantastic.
crazy.
I think I want to be our Pats where I'm just still attempting to try to like.
Right.
I'm attempting something. I'm not just happy in my kooky world.
Gotta resist a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, you're resisting?
I'm trying to resist. Though
But
I don't
he
know.
has that
I'm
weird
also like,
mermaid figurine.
You mean where it's like, ah, like in his face?
Oh,
Oh,
the-
you're talking about that. Okay.
Yeah, what are you talking? You talking about the mermaid who like
Talking about
finds
the
him on the
dream,
rocks?
Like or I don't know. Is it a dream? I don't know. I want to
Nobody
be the
knows.
person who's trying to figure out if I'm insane or not.
Oh, I want to be
Insane?
I'm
Well,
insane.
yeah, when you say it like that, I also pick insane, please. If you told
you
me
would
you
pick
had to,
William Dafoe either
this
way.
is not
like,
a would
Of
you
course.
rather between are you insane or are you a person trying to decide if you're insane? Because that's an easy answer. I'm insane. I'll take insane.
right?
I'm trying.
I want to be Willem Dafoe at the dinner table every night. I don't want to be
Man.
Robert Pattinson.
Didn't he look like he was
Man.
having a fucking blast?
Yeah,
But,
and
like-
he was always like chewing with his mouth open and
There
getting
was
drunk.
there was also something about that movie that made the food look not that good too, right? Like you knew it didn't
yeah.
have salt and pepper on it.
Like there was
Like
no.
you just
yeah.
somehow knew.
It's like if someone
was
smushed a
under-seasoned.
potato for you,
And
that's it. And then, yeah.
masterpiece.
But then that crazy
Absolute
person's like, aren't you going
masterpiece.
to eat? And you're like, yeah.
Right.
this
If
again.
I just think
What's wrong
about
with you?
like
Eat this delicious food.
think about how uncomfortable our Pat was at the dinner table the first few nights.
I feel like that's my
Willem Dafoe was never uncomfortable.
Living it
He
up.
was happy to be there.
I feel like this is a very good description of you and me. I'm always,
Yeah.
I'm always uncomfortable, and you seem very relaxed in these situations. I'll stick with our Pats. I'm trying to get out.
I'm gonna go Defoe. In that scenario,
Yeah,
there's no hope. You
you got to go with the flow.
just gotta be crazy.
You
Gotta be. If
the
you're at the lighthouse, you gotta be
I
the
guess,
lighthouse.
Yeah, he is.
You want to be the lighthouse.
I suppose so, yeah.
And I'm just trying to get up to that lighthouse.
When he's like naked up at the top of the lighthouse, you're like, what the fuck is happening up there?
Was he naked though? Like
I
yeah,
don't know.
I think he was.
He was just in the light.
He was the light.
He was the light.
That's
He is
true.
the lighthouse. All right, guys. Those were some
Okay.
great Would You Rathers. And this was a fantastic episode. I tell you what, I was sick and I wasn't looking forward to this.
Wow. Ouch.
Wow.
Well, I didn't know that I would have the energy. I thought
Very
I'd be
rude.
dragging you guys down.
Well, you did a little, but
A couple of things to mention here. Emily is using a Secret Cabal glass. I have my Secret Cabal glass. We are in any way, shape, or form.
Wait a
I don't know
minute.
what else to do.
Have you joined some sort of secret cabal?
No, the
No.
Secret Cabal gave me a podcast I've been listening to forever. Jamie, the host of the Secret Cabal, just found out he has cancer, actually.
Oh no.
And yeah, he's been a little unhealthy recently. He finally figured out what's going on. And they just said, so the show may be a little sporadic coming up. He did deliver some good news recently. The cancer has not spread.
oh,
So yeah, so they may be able to
Hopefully.
take care of it. No problem. We'll see.
fingers crossed.
So best wishes go out to Jamie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to do. Like it's so
It's very
weird
sad.
when you listen
Yeah.
to a podcast. And for anybody who listens to this, maybe the same goes out to you guys. Is like you get to know people over the years, over the time that you listen. It's like you're their friend, but it's like a one-way relationship. And it's such a weird thing for somebody that
Yeah.
you've never met, but you kind of care so much about. Then they tell you they're sick. It's like I don't know how to tell you in the right way that like this is heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
sad.
You know?
Well, hopefully everything can.
I mean, I really hope so.
Yeah.
So it's been good news so
So bad.
far. So hopefully it continues that way. If anybody's curious, go to the Secret Cabals Guild on BGG. And there's a post on there, and you can read all about it.
And all that.
Another thing is, so we are continue to be proud members of the Gateway Gaming Network, right? It's the gatewaynetwork.com. That's the website, right?
I believe so.
It
I told Ben that he should have like the websites like printed out, and so he knows, and then he's like, I'm gonna wing it every time. And then you look at me like I should know. If
you're like the bookkeeper.
I don't know.
GatewayNetwork.com. Ryan from the Gamecasters podcast has been saying there's great things coming in the future. I think
the Gamecasters. Do you say that? Sorry.
The Gamecasters. Yeah. There's some new people taking over their online presence and going to push the Gateway a little bit more. So we're really glad to be that. We maybe do some shout outs for some other people in the network and kind of support each other. We're also a part of the Board Vengers, which is a big effort this year from a couple of board game media people, mainly connected through Instagram. We just did Game of the Year. We've done some other videos together. McKay, the board game critic, and Roberto from Sheer Boredom got everybody together. They made a website. They made a YouTube channel. We're going to be posting videos every Tuesday on a regular schedule.
I put the link for the Board Vengers website and the Board Vengers YouTube, I believe, in our bio link in Instagram in the link tree.
Cool.
So that one, and I believe the Gateway Network's in there too. So if you're looking for any of the websites, are all in there.
So if you want to look for more board game content, not just us rambling on about The Witcher again, which I could talk about The Witcher all day and working out.
Let's.
Exactly. Go check it out. Next week, we will be live streaming the D-list breakdown of Ryan Reynolds as the Green Lantern. So look for that. Friend of the pod. If you're listening to this when this comes out on Monday, then it'll be this Thursday is the live stream. If you missed the live stream, then whatever, watch it later on YouTube or on Twitch, or just catch the audio next week. And I think that brings us to the close of the very first episode of 2022, the Date Night Dice podcast.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Whoop, whoop.
So for all of us here at the Date Night Dice studios,
that's my favorite.
have a good night.
Bye.